The 1950s was the golden age in the creation of America's greatest road racing circuits, including Watkins Glen, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, Virginia International, Lime Rock Park, and the most majestic of all, Road America. This 4-mile sweep through the Wisconsin countryside combines long, fast straightaways and tricky off-speed corners as the road rises and falls through the greenery of the Kettle Moraine. Today, mighty Road America hosts round 9 of the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship, bringing together all 4 classes of Prototype, Prototype Challenge, Grand Touring Le Mans, and GT Daytona. The championships are close, a total of just 17 points separating first from second in the 4 divisions combined. Who will emerge as the big cheese in the dairy state? We're about to find out here on Fox Sports 1. For 60 years, sports cars have been headliners at Road America, and so they are today at the Continental Tire Road Race Showcase, powered by Mazda. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Varsha. Welcome live to Road America. It's been a big weekend for news in the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship. In just a moment, Calvin Fish and Justin Bell will be here to talk about the race itself. But right now, we're going to switch from headlines to storylines. And for that, we'll go down to the pit lane to Brian Till and Jamie Howe.
Well, Bob, for over 60 years, Road America has been a driver's favorite, regardless what discipline you come from. And today, sports car drivers feel exactly the same way. In the prototype category, Michael Valiente and Richard Westbrook lead that championship by 7 markers over defending race and series champions Joao Barbosa and Christian Fittipaldi. Dane Cameron and Eric Curran sit third, just 11 points out of the lead and only 4 points out of second. The dark horse driver duo has to be Ricky and Jordan Taylor, though. They have 2 wins on the season and 2 runner-up finishes, but they've also had a handful of bad luck, and to stay in this fight, they'll need more victories. In Prototype Challenge, only 3 points separate championship leaders and defending champions Colin Brown and John Bennett from Mike Wash and Tom Kimber-Smith, our most recent winners in the Prototype Challenge category.
There are 4 races remaining in each of the GT championships, making this a pivotal point in the season to either build up a lead or gain back some points in that championship. It's Corvette versus BMW in the GTLM championship, with Jan Magnussen and Antonio Garcia leading Dirk Berner and Bill Auberlin by just 2 points. After winning overall at Le Mans, Porsche followed up with victories in the last 2 GTLM events, with the number 17 Team Falcon Tire entry at Watkins Glen and the number 911 PM&A entry at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. But the defending winner of this event is the number 62 Risi Ferrari. GTD has been wild and fierce all year. Audi's Christopher Haase and Dion von Moltke lead, but after their wreck at Lime Rock, the door is wide open for several other teams. Aston Martin's Christina Nielsen is just second, 5 points out. WeatherTech's Porsche teammates Lee Keen and Cooper McNeil are 7 back, while Bill Sweedler and Townsend Bell are just 10 behind in their Scuderia Ferrari.
Well, certainly tight championships across the board, Justin, but it's hard to believe when we're talking prototype contenders. No mention of the 0-1 Ganassi machine, a lean season, no wins, only 2 podiums. They're 5th in the points, 20 points behind. But yesterday in qualifying, what a spectacular lap by Joey Handy. Grabs the Total Pole Award, and if they can go on a tear here at the end of the year, who knows, maybe they can get back in the game with only 3 rounds remaining. Now, Road America, there's so many various elements to discuss. One is speed as we look at our respective class pole sitters from yesterday. And Justin, the drivers really love this place. Why?
Perhaps because it's that mix of international drivers and amazing cars here that reminds them of those best European tracks of old. It's so fast, as you say, fast sweeping corners, downhill braking, very difficult to overtake though. So it takes commitment, it takes risk, but the rewards, well, they're certainly worth it.
All right, thank you, guys. As you can see, the field is on track, warming their Continental tires. We're going to take a break and return for the green flag at the Continental Tire Road Race Showcase, powered by Mazda.
My favorite racetrack in Hollywood ever.
Fast, green,
beautiful. Fast, wide open track, but very narrow.
amazing circuit.
Road America, every time you go out, that's the best lap in racing.
It's an absolutely amazing track, built over just 4 months back in 1955. Tell us about it, Justin.
Well, just over 4 miles. There's 44 gear changes over those 14 corners. It's got 175 foot of elevation and a top speed of 175 miles an hour between trees, Bob.
That's our Ford track map of Road America. Here's the field coming up from the low point of the racetrack down at Canada Corner. This part of the track used to be spanned by the Billy Mitchell Bridge. That is now gone. Lots of new amenities here at Road America. There's our weather tech weather update, and the temperatures are quite a bit warmer than the teams have seen in Friday and Saturday practice and qualifying. It'll be interesting to see how the fuel and tire strategies play out, but right now it's time to go racing as Joey Hand and Christian Fittipaldi in a Ford and a Chevy respectively start across the front row. The prototype field with their own start, they'll be followed by the GT cars up the famed Road America hill onto the front straightaway in front of a huge crowd, and we are green at Road America. Sean Johnson, goalie for the Chicago Fire, on the green flag.
Great start for Joey Hand there, but look at the battle behind. Valiente slides into the second spot. Ricky Taylor goes with him. Fittipaldi down to fourth.
Yeah, a little nudge there, I think, but did you see the delta in? That was all sporty, wasn't it? Right in the middle there.
They were very quick in qualifying yesterday. Mayma Rojas, Catherine Legfield, they got a great car for this circuit.
And here comes the GT field. Earl Bamber and Patrick Lindsay, pole sitters in class, and Bamber has been simply sensational this weekend in that Porsche.
What a lap he did in qualifying. Second lap out, he only saw this track in the drive for the first time yesterday morning. He grabs the pole, but look at that black BMW
John
around
Edwards, right around the outside.
Oh.
Look, he's having a challenge on the outside, going down the hill. That is very difficult to do. He's going to try and make it stick as they go down the back straight. The next corner down into 5 Kelvin, downhill braking. But the tires are not yet warmed up.
That's exactly right, and these guys are running very different tires here. There's Falcon tires in this GTLM field, but the majority of the field's on Michelin, but the BMWs are a different compound to the rest of the field as Edward looks to the front.
Yeah, I don't think he got the memo about this with the opening lap. He's on it.
Look at this. This is that 912 car, 911 car started at the back, had problems in qualifying. So they're trying to fight their way through that GTD field carefully.
Up through turn 6, tricky left-hander through Hurry Downs to turn 7, and then the mighty carousel.
Yeah, we've got to watch the Tandy car. Will make its way through. They were fastest in every session, I believe. Problems in qualifying, so now obviously they're going to wet their way through the field.
Fisichella in the Risi Competizione red Ferrari there, trying to find a way by our championship leader, which is Antonio Garcia in the number 3 yellow Corvette right in front of him.
It really is like a sole red bullet, this one. They're here on their own. There is no sister car. They run very fast, of course, Formula One driver behind the wheel.
That's right. Giancarlo Fisichella and his co-driver, Pierre Caffer, have been very quick. They are 2.5 seconds faster than they were in qualifying last year, and they are the defending class race champions.
Look at Bamber. He has taken off, just like in qualifying yesterday. It was like a light switch, his speed. He has just taken off from this GTLM field.
Yeah, we've seen that Porsche just come to life over these last few races. If it is not reined back by the competition, it has the ability to absolutely hammer it. Jamie?
You guys mentioned that problem that the number 911 had. It was an engine misfire, so they went through different engine mapping, trying to see if they could get to the bottom of the issue, but they could not, so the team did have to do an engine change overnight. They went out in the morning warm-up and field, and everything was back to normal, so Patrick Pilet now just making his way through.
Antonio Garcia in the number 3 Corvette C7R. This was the car that was crashed heavily at Le Mans in practice by his teammate Jan Magnussen. The car missed 2 races while it was being repaired.
That was tight, Bob. That was
in action.
really tight at the apex there. Garcia looked to the inside. Edwards was having none of it. Now it gives Fisichella a run as they head down towards turn 5.
Ferrari going to have a little look. As I said, downhill braking. The BMW there, I have to say, he did close the door quite healthily as you come down there, but early stages you don't want to lose track position. Oh, look at him lock up.
Yeah, locks up that left front. You've got to be careful. He runs a little bit wide. Garcia slides to the inside. He's going to grab second spot.
He might actually grab the Ferrari, might have gone by as well. And look at the 60 leaving pit lane after serving its penalty, Bob.
Great story there. The Ohio-based Michael Shank Racing, a huge crowd favorite, discovered a fuel leak in that car this morning. Oz Negri being towed out for warm-up smelled fuel. He knew that was a problem. They had to skip the warm-up and thus start from the pit lane while they repaired that leak in their fuel cell, and then they made their their drive-through. Now they can go racing.
And the rules dictate that, Bob, because otherwise a team could play strategy. If you had a poor grid spot, start from pit lane, that saves you fuel with the reconnaissance lap, so they make you serve that penalty, and it's about a 45-second time delta by driving down pit lane at the 60-kilometer speed limit.
We saw Wolf Hensler there getting very sporty in the Falcon tires Porsche. certainly looked very good through the first 5 corners on this track. It was interesting. He had a lot of pace through there. Drops down a little bit coming out of the carousel. Brian?
As you were talking about Mike Shank's number 60 and the fuel leak, it's actually the fuel cell has kind of collapsed. Just think of it with no fuel in it, it's kind of collapsed upon itself. And so what they've done is try to sandwich some aluminum around the top, one piece inside, one piece outside, and put a bolt between it to try to firm up the top of that so that as the fuel level goes down, it doesn't collapse in upon itself. I asked Mike, does he think that that's going to hold? And he goes, I'm about 70% sure it'll make it to the end. Then he paused and said, or make that 60%. So not big hopes here, but they're not going to quit. They're going to run until they have a problem. Hopefully they can make it all the way to the checkers.
Second place in GTLM changes hands as Giancarlo Fisichella in that bright red Ferrari 458 Italia goes by the number 3 Corvette.
They are the defending race champions here at Road America. That Ferrari is really well suited to these long straightaways. Very slippery bodywork, cuts through the air very efficiently. Some of these other cars, like that Z4, have a bit more downforce and a bit more what we call the greenhouse effect. The silhouette of the race car has to punch it through the air.
Yeah, it was interesting sitting with those guys having a coffee this morning. They're so calm, they're so experienced, they're so collected. But you know what? Having a Ferrari, ex-Ferrari Formula 1 driver like Fisichella here, he loves this kind of racing. He's the enthusiasm he has for it. And of course, Pierre Caffa does all the setup work, hands the car over, and unleashes Visi. It's
now,
great stuff.
Interesting story in GTLM, which is the only class in the TUDOR series that offers tire competition. There are also Falcon tires in this class. Michelin, for its teams, has come up as the Porsche passes the 25 BMW. Michelin has what they call a single stint tire. It's more of a gumball, more grip but less tire life than the standard endurance tires. And the reason for that has to do with pit stops, but it's going to be interesting to see whether those tires hold up as the engineers think they will in these elevated temperatures.
Yeah, we lost a lot of track time on Friday here, Bob. Had a lot of rain here, so they don't have the amount of dry track running they normally would. So getting the laps on board is hard with this 4-mile circuit, JB. You don't get a lot of laps in a 1-hour practice session to really get a true test on what those tires are going to be like on the long run. Add to that the ambient and track temperatures are much higher today.
Yeah, and of course, you only really get the full data from either test sessions, and a lot of them benefited from a Tuesday test session, or they get it during the race run. So we'll see at the end of this first 45, 50, 55-minute run.
Now let's go pick up the action in the GT Daytona class. There is Patrick Lindsay, who put that Park Place Porsche 911 GT America on pole. A terrific run for the Washington State resident.
Also, a tremendous run, qualifying for Christina Nielsen in that Aston Martin. And what a fantastic job she did. Obviously, Ben Keating right behind her right now, putting a lot of pressure on. But I tell you, she impressed a lot of people yesterday. Ben looking to the inside, going down into turn 1. That's a big car, a lot of weight to muscle your way past. He's making his presence known there, but Christina said, no, not this particular lap.
Yeah, he tucked it to the inside in turn 1. Now he gets the inside lane down into turn 3. I think he's going to probably try and make it stick right here. So it's a great little battle here. There were some concerns with the minimum drive time, which for the Pro-Am categories, we have PC, we have GTD, where we have the Pro-Am drivers incorporated. To get points, you had to do 60 minutes coming into this event. They then spoke to a lot of the teams about what sort of fuel mileage are you getting. And they've made an adjustment on GTD. It's now only 50 minutes because otherwise those Pro-Am drivers are going to have to do a second stint if we stayed green.
Here's Prototype Challenge. These are identical chassis built by the Orica company in France. Identical Chevrolet V8 normally aspirated power plants making a lot of horsepower. And they provided some terrific racing. We hope you were with us for our most recent round of the PC Championship at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut. What a race that was.
And I tell you what, a qualifying session that was yesterday. We see James French here leading, but collectively he's pipped Chris Cumming, who runs in second spot right now, to 3 pole positions. If you added up the margins collectively for 3 qualifying sessions, 88 1/1000ths of a second. It's been a heartbreak situation for Chris Cumming in qualifying.
I did say identical chassis and engines, did I not? The only variable are the drivers. We got a break coming up. Rain is in the forecast here at Road America. Will it come and how heavily? That's a story yet to be told. Back live at Road America. Clear track ahead for race leader Joey Hand and the Chip Ganassi Racing with Felix Sabates. Riley Chassis with Ford EcoBoost V6 twin turbo power. Engine of the future for sports car racing at Ford Motor Company, and there's a lot to report on that front as well. We have a total of 15 onboard cameras for you today, spread among the prototype, GT Le Mans and GT Daytona categories. And as usual, tremendous mechanical and brand diversity in TUDOR United SportsCar Championship racing. And of course, different engine notes from practically every car in the field. Don't forget, you can get your own version of this race with the TUDOR Onboard Pass. Just go to foxsports.com/TUDOR. There you'll find live timing and scoring, onboard cameras, news of the series, and a whole lot more. So check it out, foxsports.com/TUDOR for the TUDOR Onboard Pass. Through the kink down to Canada Corner. The 12th of 14 turns here at Road America. Now a long uphill climb to the very highest point of the track at start-finish.
On board there with Dion van Malka. He and Christopher Haase continue to lead this GTD championship despite having a huge off and crash whilst leading in the previous round at Lime Rock Park. Otherwise, that championship lead could have been so much more, but a great battle there between the Ferrari of Bill Swigler, who's doing a tremendous job. Had a chance to have a spot of lunch with his teammate Townsend Bell. He said Bill's just doing a great job this weekend. Very confident in qualifying.
Picking up that GTLM battle, said to be the best GT racing in the world. It's only going to get better in years to come as Ford rolls out their own GTLM car. There are rumors that other manufacturers are on the way as well.
Yeah, it's great sitting on board right now with Wolf Hensler. He's got a great view right now, although he'd rather be looking in his mirrors rather than out the front. But these cars so equal, they get to the net result, Calvin, by such different means. But generally the net lap time is very, very similar. And we're seeing front engine, mid-engine, rear engine, just incredible racing. Jamie's down in the pit lane with a guy that we expect to star later in this race. Jamie, is he nervous or enthusiastic?
Well, right now, Justin, it's his teammate Patrick Pillay putting on a clinic. He's not only all the way to the front of the GTD field, but all the way up to 4th in GTLM. What has he said on the radio about moving through the cars?
Nothing, which at this point is a very good sign. It was a real shame what happened yesterday. I think we were fastest in every session apart from the qualifying, which we didn't have to run. We changed the engine overnight, but everything was good. And Patrick got through the whole GTD field in less than a lap. And everything's running well so far. So he's keeping quiet, which normally with Patrick is a good sign.
So when you see your teammate go through the field that way with such aggression, so much speed, what does that do to your nerves before you get in the car?
It makes me realize how good the car is. We weren't entirely sure overnight what happened. But clearly it's running very well. So Earl's doing a great job out front. Hopefully we can get somewhere close to him and then we can start to control the race. There's obviously a long way to go, but if we can be in and around the top 3 come the first pit stops, then that was the plan.
Well, after listening to him talk, Justin, I don't think he rattles easily. He's pretty relaxed. Brian?
Scott Pruitt down here watching Joey Hand ply his trade. First pole for this team since Long Beach of last year, only 2 podiums this year. I know you guys want more. But this performance this weekend, is that something that you guys have found a little foreshadowing for perhaps the rest of the season?
Yeah, without a doubt. We've been working hard. All the guys around Shade's been working hard on the Ford EcoBoost engine. All the Ford, across the board, Ganassi, Ford, everybody. It's been a tough year. It's been a tough year and a half. We snuck out 3 wins last year. We won Daytona with the team car this year. IMSA gave us a little help. We're working and pushing every element that we can out of my family at home. And, it's paying off this weekend. So the car's been good. We're saving a little fuel right now, just trying to see if we can stretch that window.
Trying to stretch that window all the way to the checkered flag, guys.
Well, I think that was a critical comment that Scott then makes. I was looking at Joey Hand's lap times. He's immediately down in the 1:59 range, had a 5.5 second lead, but now you can see the lead is basically nothing. Valiente is right on his tail, so hopefully it's because Joey is saving fuel. Otherwise, maybe he's lost the balance on the race car, which I find strange because Scott Pruitt was fastest in the warm-up on 30-lap tires, so they really felt they should be in good shape for race.
Yeah, but Joey's also one of those drivers that I would put in that category of with, especially maybe from his DTM experience and things, he's an explosive driver who can come out of the box fast. And there is something to be said. A lot of sports car drivers, no criticism, but you get a little in the groove sports car style, which means you don't come out of the gate as fast as some of the Formula guys or maybe some of the sprint format guys. I think that, in my opinion, is a Joey Hand demonstration of speed. Now we're getting the true indication of how these cars are lining up. Brian?
Well, it was interesting. While I was standing there talking to Scott, there was a radio transmission that came in. You could see the crew react to it. They went down, pulled out their air gauges, and started adjusting pressure on the tires. I would assume those are the tires that'll go on at this next stop. So perhaps you're right, Calvin. As the weather has changed, it's a very different racetrack than they've been on all weekend long. Perhaps the handling going away just a little bit. Combine that with a little bit of fuel savings, and you'll get that longer lap time.
Well, they did a test a couple of weeks ago at Road Atlanta, really found some stuff there, and I think Joey's main complaint early in the weekend was understeer. Now we're hearing via radio communication between Joey and the team. He's having some traction problems getting off the corners, and here you see Valiente coming in a hurry.
Yeah, and look at him. He's going down the inside to turn one. There was no defense. Joey took the legal line that he was allowed. One move, tucks underneath. He's not going to give it up that easy, but I don't think there's much fight in that.
I think there's more of an issue. I mean, Joey's lap times, I said, dropped off dramatically. So unless he's gone super lean on the mixture, and I spoke to their engineers this morning, I said, how much does it hurt performance? They said, not too much, actually. We're more concerned about the overheating of running the fuel lean on the mixture. So right now, he doesn't seem to have the straightaway speed that he displayed earlier in the going.
In fact, he's fallen to third now behind Michael Valiente and Ricky Taylor in a pair of Corvette Daytona prototypes.
We seem really slow in the straight line, man. Yeah, 10-4, we see that. Keep doing what you're doing here. We got to fix.
Yeah, I think that's more than enough. I mean, I was looking at those lap times, and they went from 59s to mid-201, so that's it. Oh, there was contact there. I think the 90, was it, and the 10 down into the turn 8 brake zone.
And that's critical in the championship because the boys in the 10, the Taylor family car, the Konica Minolta, that car right there, they desperately need to win the race and have that 90 car finish third or worse, if my numbers are correct, if they're to have any hope in the championship. So Ricky Taylor is trying to get by Michael Valiente.
Watch this. There was traffic involved. There's Ben Keating in the number 33 Viper. Valiente protects to the inside. Ricky says, no problem. I'll go around the outside. Then Valiente comes back at him.
A little slide out. You know, yeah, I mean, tell you what, that was amazing commitment by Ricky to go around the outside there. But Michael absolutely was entitled to hold his line down the inside. But these two, this race is not over between these two. They're going to keep pushing like this the whole way through.
I look closely at the side of the 10 there. No sign of damage or even a scrape. So let's call it no harm, no foul as the action continues at a furious pace here at the Continental Tire Road Race Showcase. Back live at the fastest part of this 4-mile Road America circuit. We are under a full course caution. Our first of the race, as you can see, the number 97 Turner Motorsport BMW has suffered a heavy impact. Michael Marsal of New York was in the car. We understand that there was contact with one of the prototype challenge cars, but it was a heavy impact in any event. It looks like the 97 is finished.
Yeah, what a disappointment after that spectacular victory between Michael Marsal and Dane Cameron at the last round of the championship at Lime Rock Park.
You just saw Marsal getting into the Porsche Rapid Response vehicle, so he's able to move around.
Marcus Peltala there is Michael's teammate. He was not there for the Lime Rock Park race, but did win at Spa, the 24-hour race. A great victory for he and his teammates, Nicky Katzberg and Lucas Löhr for BMW. But these guys, other than Lime Rock, have had a rough year.
Yeah, and where they hit, you were right. I mean, he will feel that impact. It doesn't matter what class you're in. That is a fast segment of the racetrack, and it's a bit like you know, literally a pinball in an alley there, Bob, with the buffers up either side. That was a big hit.
I don't mean to be hasty when I say the car is out. As you can see, the flatbed is there. They'll take it back to the pits. The team will have a look at it, see if they can fix it in time to go out and maximize their point scoring. There's the 52 in contention for a championship in the prototype challenge class. Mike Gouache driving, and that is reportedly the PC car that had contact with the Turner car.
Ironically, they were both winning cars at Lime Rock because Tom Kimber-Smith and Gouache had that brilliant victory that really vaulted them right back into the championship hunt.
I was chatting with Mike at the driver's autograph session this morning, and really, he was, such an enthusiastic driver, loves this tremendously, and you see his sponsor on the side of the car. The sponsor is here, so it's a big deal for him, and obviously he'll want a good showing.
This is a tough part of the racetrack. We talk about the TUDOR Championship, 4 classes running together. We even had a problem at this same part of the racetrack last year, Bob. It involved James Davison, who had grabbed the GTD pole, and then we had one of the prototype Mazdas tucked to the inside here. Gets into the side of Davison, and there you can see the amount of damage that was inflicted on the TRG machine.
Wow. If you think that a car that is this, when you're wearing a car that weighs around that 3,000 pound mark and you hit something at that speed over 150 miles an hour, that's a lot of energy that has to go somewhere.
There are no small incidents at Road America. Now, I told you at the top of the show, it's been a big news weekend in the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship. Thanks to our Porsche News and Notes, we can show you the officially released 2016 schedule for the series. Same races as this year, in the same order, but a few date changes, and the teams will be taking a hard look at that July 3rd to July 10th, 1 week turnaround between the sale in 6 hours at Watkins Glen and another big race at the very challenging Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in Bowmanville, Ontario. After the announcement, our Brian Till spoke with Series President Scott Atherton.
When you're the president of a worldwide corporation, you've got to steer the ship through rough waters and calm seas. And Scott Atherton is president of IMSA. You certainly know about that, your years in motorsports. But the announcement that was made tonight, to me, that is definitely smooth water, smooth sailing for the future. Tell us a little bit more about that announcement.
Well, the announcement tonight of WeatherTech becoming the title partner for the championship puts us in a new era of sports car racing. It will be as of January next year. Not only is it the WeatherTech announcement, but also maintaining TUDOR as our official timepiece for the next 10 years, confirming Rolex as a title partner at Daytona, and the official watch at Sebring for 10 years. These are unprecedented numbers. You talk about stability in calm waters. When you've got those big low positions within your organization filled, it gives you the ability to focus on the other things that continue to help grow the business. In WeatherTech, we have quite possibly the most passionate, the most aggressive entrepreneurial marketing partner we could ever dream of. And I think everyone involved in our paddock, teams, tracks, drivers, everyone will benefit from this. I love our positioning, and I think we're in a period of time for sports car racing that's unprecedented, and it's very rewarding.
Congratulations to the series on the new title sponsorship with WeatherTech, replacing TUDOR watches. I'm already looking forward to 2016. I can tell you, with the new cars coming, the new identification for the series, new partners. Should be great stuff. And of course, it'll all begin at the totally revamped Daytona Rising Complex at Daytona International Speedway.
Don't forget the new floor mats, Bob.
The new floor mats all around, yes. Prototype pit lap.
Okay, well, I think the big one is going to be the 0-1. Can they get any fix done to that 0-1? Because Joey Ham was just falling like a stone because of some kind of power issue. Just did not have the straightaway speed, and then ultimately the lap time to stay up front.
He's perhaps the only person that really was pleased there was a full course yellow, right, Cal? Because there was no advantage to the others, especially for the front of the field. They were just taking off.
It's going to be an interesting strategy, Corey. You've got to be so careful with this long lap here that you don't cut it too fine, but the 0-1 is in and Brian is there.
I just checked with the team before that, and they said, look, we've got some kind of a problem. We'll call it mechanical right now, but we can't fix it. We can't bother to stop and fix it. Then the full course caution came out. Expect to see the engine cover coming off, and in fact, the latches have already been removed, but they said, just watch out, guys. We got a lot of work to do here. It'll be interesting to see exactly what they begin to work on, Jamie.
Well, also in pit lane are the 10, the 31, the 5, and the race leading number 90 pitted. They are going to get beat out of pit lane, though, by the 10 car. Strategy called here, though, for the 90. They went ahead and did a driver change. Richard Westbrook now behind the wheel.
And the number 10 from Wayne Taylor Racing, the Konica Minolta Corvette DP, goes to the front. Pit stops continue. We'll take a break and return. Back live at Road America, Joey Hand has taken the Ganassi Ford back on track. What appeared to be a turbo boost problem. We'll find out more as we go forward. Right now it's time for the GT cars to pit.
Certainly the saving grace is we're at Road America, so a pace lap is about 4 minutes for those Ganassi boys to effect a repair and get Joey out still on the lead lap. Brian?
Giancarlo Fisichella's in the number 62. They're very happy with this car, and in fact, surprised at the pace they've been able to run. Very quick stop, he's down and away.
For the number 911 and the 912, the 912 out pit lane first. 911 though, into a driver chase. Andy out behind the wheel, but it was a great stop for the number 17. They're also beat out by the number 62.
Now, earlier I mentioned that Michelin had a special. Sure, that Corvette got way sideways there.
Delays on the 25, the white BMW as well.
That Michelin has that new single stint tire because in the World Championship, where Michelin also provides GT tires, you're not allowed to change tires while you refuel the car. The teams want a tire with greater endurance so they can go multiple stints and avoid the extra time it would take to change tires in the pits. Here, however, they can change tires while the car refuels. In fact, they can easily get 4 new tires on the car before refueling is done. So they wanted a tire that they could use for one stint for maximum grip and take off and simply replace. And now they have it. A great strategic tool in these races. The Decker Green Challenge in the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship is all about being clean, fast, and efficient. Points awarded based on your performance, going the longest distance with the lowest environmental impact using a combination of scientific algorithms established between IMSA, the Society of Automotive Engineers, and the U.S. Department of Environmental Protection. Here are the standings. Low score is the overall season leader, and that's the number 3 car from Corvette Racing. We'll be following the Decker Green Challenge all the way to the season finale at Road Atlanta this fall. Now, I mentioned the 01 from Ganassi was into the pits for a fix, sent back out again. Brian Till, what have we learned?
Now, I won't tell you this is exactly correct because, you know, the teams keep things a little bit close, but you guys saw it on camera. I believe they were working on one of the hoses that either came off of the turbo or off of the wastegate, and I talked to the team. They said, kind of one of those proverbial 50-cent parts. I said, was it a clamp? And they said, you could say that if you want to. So I'm not sure that's exactly what it was. That's the part that got replaced, was definitely one of those clamps, Jamie.
And Calvin mentioned the holdup for the number 25, the white BMW in the pits. The air hose got caught underneath the tire, so it took a couple of seconds just to unwind that, but those couple of seconds were precious here.
Look at the crowd lining those golf cart paths way down in Canada Corner as the field comes around and reforms. They'll do a final wave by and go green. This is one of those amenities I talked about at the top of the show, giving greater spectator access. You'll never get closer to the race cars than you will in the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship. From the Corvette safety car,
it's going to be our GTD leader who's going to lead us back to the green flag.
How about that?
Green, 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 green.
And it's important that they get that over the radio because they could not see the green flag from the flag stand. You saw a worker at the bridge, the walkover bridge, waving the green flag so they could see it on the way up the hill.
And you, unlike the initial start, are allowed to start making moves right from the apex. The 31 down to the inside. Dane Cameron, a brave move, and he runs wider than 90s around.
Dangerous spot to be.
Huge in the championship. Michael Valiente, Richard Westbrook just 7 points ahead of their nearest rivals.
Westy's behind the wheel, and think of the irony here. Dane's engineer. Sorry, Westy's engineer is Dane's father, Ricky Cameron, on the 90 pit box as those two look like they got together there into the brake zone for one.
Tell you what, that could have been worse at the front right then when Patrick Lindsay touched there, but I'm glad they got through that one without an incident. Right behind them, they had another one. This is very difficult. This is multi-class racing. Lots of people going for the same spot, Cal.
Well, I think Dane just had a tremendous run. It's hard to see in the thick of that pack there as they came over the start stripe. I think Dane had a tremendous run. I'm not saying that Westy did this, but maybe saw him come and try to narrow the gap, and suddenly Dane was down on the inside on the grass with the right side wheels, and I assume there had to be contact.
Well, Westy was very upset on the radio communication back to the team. He said that he was side bombed, so he's not happy, but he's still back out in the race.
Ricky Taylor completes his run to the front around the slower cars. As you mentioned, Justin, multi-class racing means performance differentials, and you have to be very aware of what the car you're trying to overtake or you're being overtaken by can do in terms of speed.
Yeah, and the issue is, especially the restart, you've got a GTD leading this field. Great for their sponsors, great for Patrick, but a bit rough on everyone behind.
Yeah, it certainly creates a shuffle, but right now the 10 car has made that move. They're in front of the 5 there. The 31 car looks like it has not sustained any damage because Cameron seems to be showing great speed there. Just a few car lengths behind Christian Fittipaldi right now. So up front, we have the guys. Remember, the 10 car were 12 points behind with 3 rounds to go in 2013 when Ricky's brother Jordan Taylor and Max Angelelli went on a tear, won 3 straight and clinched the championship. This year, they're on a 1-race win streak. I think they've got to win the rest of the way here to maybe get back in the game. They're 15 points behind right now.
Fittipaldi's looking very strong right now. Ricky put his head down, got going, but Christian, I tell you what, that car looks really good. He was able to, these guys are hustling these cars. The Mustang sampling out there, coming as they go down to that back straight. This is a good, we haven't seen much overtaking yet in clear air, Bob, going down into turn 5. But it really is one of the most opportune overtaking spots if you set it up right.
And here comes Fittipaldi. He's in the draft as they hit the brake zone for turn 5. Side by side. Taylor defends, looks in his mirror, sticks to that inside line. He couldn't take the wide entry as Fittipaldi now cuts to the inside for the brake zone for 6.
Yeah, that is great. We've seen it a lot, haven't we? Yesterday's Continental race, you saw it early on the opening lap. You can carry too much speed into that braking, go a little wide, and then be slow as you head up into 6. Ricky able to hold on to it though, but Christian, tell you what, he'll be setting up all that experience he has. He'll be looking for that way pass any minute soon.
And Christian Fittipaldi feels very affectionate about Road America. It was here back in 1999 that he won his very first Champ Car race. As you may know, it was announced this weekend that the Verizon IndyCar Series will be coming back to Road America. That's a big boost for Midwestern IndyCar fans.
Well, we see the 31 car. He's really closing in on these leaders, but it was a wild restart. We've caught a couple of angles at it. Look high on the screen right now as we show this initial replay of the restart heading up the front straightaway into turn 1. Look high on the screen. Top of the screen, you see a sandwich. The 90 car goes around. The 31 went through the inside. He took the wide line on exit, and suddenly we're riding on here with the 70. Look up ahead. Tough to see, but Westy is sideways, and it's taken him a long time to recover. He is deep in the pack right now.
Just ahead on the road there is the Delta Wing. That car was reported smoking earlier in the race, but it's still out there running in the hands of Memo Rojas, shown 4th in prototype, 5th in the overall. Christian Fittipaldi
looks to the inside. This is close. Ricky Taylor tried to defend. Wow. He gets wide. He's in the gray, and here comes Cameron with a run.
The 2 Action Express cars, the 5 Mustang sampling car, the white one.
5. He's got his hands full with the 31. Keep pushing here.
But remember, the 5 and the 31 are teammates.
And Cameron's got to run. He has got to run. He's alongside Fittipaldi.
He's got to run all the way to the front if he pushes it right. Look at that, they're squeezing each other going down there.
They're 2 team cars. They're only 4 points apart in the championship. This is wild stuff.
Down into 5.
Touch, touch, touch all the way through there.
Will they give each other room? Will they give each other racing room? No, they don't.
Do it again here at 6.
He decided not to do the old pit maneuver on him there because that could have gone wrong. But
we love to see this, Justin, but what is Gary Nelson and the rest of the squad thinking up on the pit box?
Okay with that.
Yeah,
that was Dane Cameron, I think, saying, yeah. Gary, I am not okay with that, meaning the way Christian Fittipaldi handled that racing through the corner.
Well, remember early in the season, Dane was really quick, and he was out there at the end of these races behind Joao Barbosa and seemed to indicate he had a bit more pace, but he didn't put it all on the line. But the championship now, Bob, totally different scenario. They're in the thick of this.
Ricky Taylor enjoying that. Sorry, Bob. Ricky just going, thanks, guys. You just gave me the 2.5 break I needed to get some clean air. I tell you what, Dane read that beautifully, didn't he? And he's not over with his business with Fittipaldi at all.
Speaking of business, another at headlines this weekend is the fact that Action Express has announced they will be back with both of these cars next year. That car, the Mustang Sampling Corvette DP, and the Whelen Team Fox, number 31 in red and white. There's another look. Fair or not, you call it. We'll take a break. The officials are fine with it. Thanks, Jamie. Back live here at Road America and the Continental Tire Road Race Showcase powered by Mazda. Round 9 of the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship. Races are running down. It's time to make your move in the championship stretch drive. Here are your top 3 in the prototype and the overall. Ricky Taylor, Christian Fittipaldi, and Dane Cameron. Now let's go back to that close contact in this very turn 5, between the 5 and the 31. With more, here's Jamie.
Well, Gary Nelson, some of the best racing out on the track right now between your 2 cars. We heard Dane on the radio say, Gary, I am not okay with that. What were your thoughts?
Well, right after a restart is your best opportunity to move forward. And the 31 and the 5 were both going for the lead around the 10. And they had a little contact. So, you know, that happens. And what I like is our guys, all of our Action Express drivers are going for it every lap. Certainly they have instructions not to take each other out, but going for the lead is what we do, so we're happy.
How much more aggressive with each other could they get?
I'm sorry?
How much more aggressive with each other could they get?
Well, that was a little bit, that was right to the line there. You know, they're still running for second and third, racing still for the win. They didn't damage each other's cars. But certainly it looked like that was an opportunity that we missed where we could be first and second instead of second and third. And, you know, sometimes that happens. But like I said, our drivers, that's what we like about them. They want to go to the front.
Certainly not leaving anything on the line. Thank you.
Well, their mantra is expect to win, and I think both their boys were going for it right there. The irony is, Bob, as you know, big announcement here yesterday with that team.
That's right, that they'll be back with both cars next year as the entire series looks forward to 2017 when a new prototype formula will come into effect.
And with the same driver lineup. Although that story has yet to unfold. Let's see what happens the rest of the way. Remember, Gary Nelson comes from stock car racing. That was nothing.
Oh, no.
Based on what he has seen.
He also, you know, they're not in the business of hiring insurance claim adjusters.
Right.
You know, these are race drivers, and the number 8 got spun there. Mirko Schultes got spun by the Corvette that just left frame.
Come on, turn it around. Let's go. Come on.
Peter Barron there on the radio getting frustrated. We see this multi-class racing there. Mirko Schultes tried to close the door, and the Corvette was right there, and he is still sitting there trying to get some fire into that PC machine.
You're on board with Antonio Garcia. He had a BMW right on his left rear fender.
And I would say that in reality, my read on that is, you know what? The GT, one of the leading GT cars was coming by. You're going down the back straight. You could easily use all the road there and let the Corvette go by. So,
let me correct myself. It wasn't Antonio Garcia in the 3. It's Jan Magnussen who took over for his Spanish teammate. Dirk Werner in the 25 BMW was there, and it looks like we've lost power here.
Yeah, what Peter Barron was just saying there is cycle it, cycle everything, turn everything off.
Try rolling downhill.
It's in the Canada corner.
Try in a bump start downhill if you get speed.
You got another 15 feet to do it, mate.
Yeah, you better do it soon.
It's a good call, though, by Peter Barron. There is a little bit of elevation change, but then you're going to be on the racetrack.
All right.
So it's a gravel trap there. He
He's
doesn't want to go in there.
Gently, boys.
Go, spin. Let's go. Go. Come on.
That was great, Peter. Great call. You know, Peter
awesome.
Barron is a guy whose pressure is higher than any Michelin will ever reach.
Well, Gary Nelson may not get emotional on the pit wall, but Peter Barron sure does. Brian.
63 is in. Bill Sweedler with a fantastic drive, as high as second in this Scuderia Corsa Ferrari. Townsend Bell taking over their second best qualifying of the year. They want to see if they can turn it into a race win. Remember, they're 4th in the GTD Championship, but only 10 points out of the lead.
And the reason they're pitting right now is a strategy call. Remember, we made the note at the beginning of this race, the GT minimum drive time was reduced from 60 down to 50 minutes. 51 and change on the board. They are good to go in terms of the minimum drive time for their Pro-Am driver, Bill Sweedler.
There's Mirko Schultes back underway. No action from race control. There's the number 11, Chris Cumming, the race leader. Let's show you how he got to the lead in the prototype class around James French, who tortured him in qualifying.
Well, here we come down into that brake zone for Canada corner where we saw the incident with Mirko Schultes. And that looked easy. I mean, he had the draft there, but he just swooped around him like he had some kind of issue on the 38 machine.
But it was brave too, Calvin. That was a strong, brave overtaking maneuver, even if there was a little bubble. because James French has dropped down to third right now. His last lap, well, it wasn't, yeah, it was a couple of seconds off there. So, but that was to go around the outside there. You've raced here, I've raced here. You got to suck it up to go around there.
And it's bumpy there in the brake zone as well. So if you get a little bit wrong, it's really easy to lock up a front wheel there and run a little bit wide or run into the guy you're trying to get through.
And he continues on his way. On board, the number 07 Mazda Skyactiv Diesel. Currently shown 8th in prototype in the hands of North Carolina's Tom Long. We'll be back to Road America. Welcome back live to Road America. You're watching round 9 of the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship, the Continental Tire Road Race Showcase powered by Mazda. I'm Bob Varsha. Whoops, the 85 Prototype Challenge car is into the Continental signage.
It's Chris Miller there behind the wheel as we're watching a great battle between Hensler and Edwards for the 4th place in GTLM. This is a strange one. How he ended up there, we'll have to...
Did he flick out from behind traffic and lose it, or hit
get a hit check?
See any grass marks leading up to that point.
No.
So whether you see a little bit there.
No, it's just where he went off the road. See if we could pick out what happened.
He doesn't have long to walk back anyway.
Oh, he's just going slowly.
Yeah, he pulls off.
Maybe he
It wasn't a big moment. There wasn't enough carnage in the grass.
Let me get out of the way. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Okay, no, that was all right. It was...
That grass is slick. They had very heavy rain less than 48 hours ago. So I wouldn't be surprised if he got a little help there from the moisture in the grass. Awaiting further instructions. If he gets back on track, he's got a long way to go to get back to the pits. Now, while we're in break, the number 44 Magnus Racing Porsche pitted. John Potter got out. Andy Lally got in. And Andy is the subject of this episode of our Continental Tire For What You Do feature. Learned that Andy Lally has a different approach to fitness and philanthropy.
The activities that I do outside of racing, I think, come from just being inherently competitive, which is an important thing for a driver, but like every aspect of my life is some sort of self-competition. It's all things that I can see my own personal gain on it, and it's exciting for me. The other aspect of that is that I can't stand sitting in a gym, lifting a weight or running on a treadmill. So I'm on the mat, I'm on a bike, I'm on the luge, stuff like that kind of keeps me active. So I'm getting an awesome workout, and I don't know it. The Cupid's Undie Run is a run that is now done yearly, and I'm part of the Children's Tumor Foundation and Cure NF for Jack. And it's a run where all the participants strip down to their underwear and run about a mile and a quarter or something around Atlanta, Boston, lots of major cities around the United States, and it's a really exciting deal. It's a fun time. The festivities afterwards are a lot of fun. We're usually stationed at a bar and everybody's hanging out.
Andy Lally from my hometown of East Northport, New York, and now lives in my hometown of Atlanta, Georgia, as well as yours, Calvin.
Kind of a contradiction, though. Can you imagine getting into a battle on the racetrack with Andy and you're kind of mad after the race? You're like, well, I don't want to fight him because he does that wrestling stuff, but then he goes for running his underwear, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know. Would I rather race a man in his underwear or have his legs wrapped around my neck? I'm not sure either is a very good option. As we join Oz Negri, they're certainly making up for a pretty lousy start at the beginning of this race with the problems they had. Oz is in 4th place. You know, you talked to him this morning as he's walking around, you know, a little bit down, Calvin. Obviously, they didn't want to start there, but we know a race of this length on a track like this, your strategy does have a chance to come into play, doesn't it?
It's a huge factor. We saw it with the 0-1, had that loose hose clip under yellow, managed to get it fixed and stay on the lead lap. Joey's now running in the 5th position with the 0-1, and this car had to serve that penalty, but Negri just turned the fastest lap of the race, overall at 1:58.2. And in practice this weekend, Bob, he was absolutely flying. This looked like the car to beat, but then again for Mike Shank, looked like a goal gone away from them, but they're back in the game.
Yeah, it is nice to be back at a track where you have that opportunity for the balance of sort of play to come in. But at the front end of it, I would say they're running incredibly fast lap times. They've had a little bit of incidents between them. But Ricky Taylor has noticed that, I'm sure, has not escaped Wayne in the pits, telling him Christian and Dane have settled down behind. they're on their way.
And I tell you what's going on right now is that these guys will be trying to run the lap time, stay close, but save fuel, because if they all hit pit lane at the same time, if you can put half a gallon less in the car because you've saved fuel, that could be the critical factor and leapfrog you ahead of the competition.
And we have seen that actually the Taylor pits has been
really good.
The Konica Minolta team have actually been very, very good in the pits over the last 2 or 3 races.
Sun beginning to break through. There was word that we might see raindrops between 4 and 5 local time this afternoon here in central Wisconsin. It's like the 38 PC cars in the pits.
Connor Daly taking over the 38, looking at the rear wing. The left end plate is deranged somehow, some way. One of the bolts has come loose and it has fallen backwards. That will affect the amount of downforce the car has because it's not square and it's going to let air spill off the rear wing instead of holding it in with that end plate. So it'll be interesting to see how bad the handling is on the 38. We'll try to check with James French here momentarily.
Well, there's another team that needs a break because they've been supremely quick in terms of the 3 poles that James has grabbed, and certainly Connor was leading the race at Lime Rock when they had that unfortunate incident with the GTD traffic in the fast downhill corner.
In case you're wondering,
putting the pressure on here, Bob.
That 85 PC car that we saw stopped amidst the Continental Tire signage is still there, but it's covered by a local yellow, no full course caution. We understand the crew's going to try to get a battery out to that car, get it replaced, and get it back on track.
Interesting to see, you know, for Ricky, he's able to control. You can tell, you know, what happens as a driver, as you know, Cal, is that you get the measure of the guy behind or in front of you very quickly, especially if you have 2 or 3 laps when they're not making a move or you're not. And right now, Ricky isn't unduly worried about Dane behind, Christian behind, unless he gets caught in traffic. And of course, as we catch up with the front of the GTLM, they're in traffic right now. They're going past the leading GTD cars.
This is for fourth place in GTLM. You got 3 different types of car in that shot: GTLM, GTD, and over to the right, the 0 Delta Wing prototype car.
Tommy Milner there on that lap managed to jump ahead of John Edwards as Wolf Hensler's gapped them a bit. Edwards comes back at them down in the brake zone, or certainly takes a look.
Ooh, do you see the Corvette step out there under brakes? He downshifted and it had a right little kick going down there, which won't have been unregistered by Edwards behind, that's for sure.
Well, these guys are both putting it totally on the line right now, driving it at maximum attack.
You also saw the 73 Park Place GTD Porsche in that mix. Patrick Lindsay has now pitted and given over to his co-driver, Spencer Popelli. Let me correct myself. I said Patrick Lindsay was from Washington State. He's actually from Santa Barbara, California. My apologies, Patrick. Good opening stint.
Yeah, great pole position and great opening stint. As you mentioned, Bob, that Park Place Porsche has been fast this year. Now we look at these GTLM cars going around. Jerome Bleekemolen, who's taken over the reins of that number 33 Viper. I think they could be a factor for a win here today in class. Certainly been very, very quick. Ben Keating, a great qualifying performance. Once again, he's really starting to get comfortable with that race car.
Carousel, what a corner. I mean, really a corner, a test of a car's downforce, the balance, the chassis, the mechanical balance. And of course, we talked about it at the top of the show. It's how fast you can come off the corners because of the BOP or adjustment of performance and the inherent dynamics of these cars. Their terminal velocity is actually very similar.
Speaking of Patrick Lindsay, he is out of the car, as I mentioned, and Brian Till is with him.
You guys were talking about what a great job he did qualifying up front. Patrick running up front. That Porsche really looks like it's hooked up. The last time you guys started from the pole, you won. Do you have that kind of car here today?
Thanks, Brian. No, you know, this is a tough track. 4 miles, 14 corners. It's very difficult. Our Park Place car is terrific, but the Viper's looking really strong. Jerome was able to get back around Spencer since he had a little more heat in his tires. They stopped a lap earlier. We got a lot of work to do. There's a lot of race left, but I'm just thrilled to have the Park Place car out front for everybody who works behind this team and for the boys here. They do such an impressive, amazing job. We got to repay them somehow, you know.
I heard you on the radio talking about the left rear after one of the cautions. This racetrack really punishes the left side. What can you do to try to take care of those left side tires here at Road America?
So I didn't hear the second half of that, but no, the left rear is very vital here. Obviously a lot of right-hand fast, high load corners. all we can do is just kind of watch it, baby it as much as we can. But we really need that left rear. And when the pressure's on, you have to use it. So you just have to kind of baby it when you can, and then when the pressure's on, go for it and hope it's there.
Should be a great GTD battle all the way to the end, and I think that Viper and the Porsche, they're going to be duking it out all the way to the checkered flag, guys.
Ooh, look at that, nice stuff. I mean, they're certainly going for it, Calvin. Those two, aren't they? I mean, that's the thing in GTLM. You never know.
Well, that certainly showcases how competitive the class is. They're 1-2 in the championship, but they're 7th and 8th on the road right now.
Yeah.
They're 3 in the 25.
Every position, every point is going to count when we go into the final race of this series. So you've got to race as hard as that. And we're so early on in the race. I mean, we're an hour and 5 minutes in. So a lot to play for.
And we've seen lots of driver changes on a first pit stop for the GTD cars, but not here. Christina Nielsen started the car. She remains in for a second stint.
Well, certainly TRG and the Paul Miller Racing, the championship leaders, made the same call. They pitted under that early caution, Bob, and of course you wouldn't be up to the minimum drive time. It's about 30 minutes in. So this is going to allow Christina Nielsen to do a little bit more drive time, but Kevin Buckler has a lot of confidence in her ability. She's running very good lap times. They're within a couple of tenths of one another, the two lead cars. So when you've got speed, it's not such a problem to run that strategy.
Right. If you've got two drivers who can do basically equal laps, doesn't matter which one is in the car, and that gives you a lot more strategic flexibility. We'll be back to sunny Road America. Back in 1955, road builder and Chamber of Commerce member Cliff Tufte decided that what was needed was a purpose-built racetrack to replace the racing on public roads around Elkhart Lake. A classic example of build it and they will come. Since then, over the last 60 years, Road America has seen nearly every form of professional and amateur motorsport. And it's 60 years of great memories. You probably recognized a couple of faces in those photos, including the reigning Lord Racing Mayor of Elkhart Lake, our buddy David Hobbs. I'm Bob Varsha with Calvin Fish, Justin Bell, Jamie Howe, and Brian Till. They're watching live round 9 of the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship, the Continental Tire Road Race Showcase, powered by Mazda.
See the two leaders there going through Canada Corner, but let's get up to speed, and there's some fierce battles here. Look at this, down into Canada Corner, Wolf Hensler, John Edwards, and the four car of Tommy Milner right there, and Wolfie gave Edwards nowhere to go, and Milner slid his way through.
Look at that. I definitely think what we're seeing this stage of the series is familiarity breeding contempt. You know, these guys know how each other races. They do it year in, year out, and at this point in the season, still a time you can take risks and gain. Look at that
hardcore racing. It's unbelievable stuff.
Oh, no question.
And look as our leader, Ricky Taylor, followed by Christian Fittipaldi, goes past the Corvette and the BMW there, heading down. Very difficult, these downhill sections, to brake correctly, get on your mark, get off the corners. Obviously, professional drivers can do it, but easy to make a mistake, force yourself into a bit of an issue. But as you head down this straight now, super quick, Calvin.
It really is a high-speed section of the racetrack, about 170 miles an hour here, down into the brake zone for the prototypes. These GTLM cars are quick as well, but the 31 car playing the first strategy call, they're in. Jamie?
They are, and so far it's a clean stop. Fuel going in. He's going to get 4 new Continental tires as well. So we'll see if he can get out. There's 50-second delta with the full-service stop to get down pit lane, so he'll be about half a lap behind the leaders when he gets out. It was a clean stop. Ryan?
Bill Sweetler sitting here on the box watching Townsend Bell out there in the 63. And Bill, what a great weekend for you guys. This Ferrari very quick here, but when you and Townsend get together in the trailer before this weekend, are you talking about trying to win this race, or are you talking about the championship with only 4 races to go and 10 points behind?
Well, as a driver, you know, Brian, we always want to win. But frankly, we got to think about the championship. We've had some bad luck at a couple previous races, and we need to finish in the top 3 or 4. Frankly, the 48 has been tough this year, and we got to keep an eye on them. So they're our bogey right now.
Sweetler certainly doing his part, running in the top 2 when he was out there. They're trying to get this Ferrari to the podium, maybe even the top step.
It's just so great. These two work together so well. It's really, they're the epitomize for me what GTD is all about. I mean, obviously he has a huge cross to bear, you know, driving, working with Townsend. I know myself how hard that is from shut up and drive, but no, in all seriousness, Townsend, what a rocket ship he is. And Bill takes this very seriously. These guys, remember, are big businessmen. They have jobs that we can't even think of. We just go home and do other things. They work very hard in between driving.
Bill is really upped his game, Bob. I mean, you look at him, I noticed last year, he is fit, he is buff, he is really working out hard, and I think when you're driving with a guy like Townsend, they really showcase what you need to do to step up to the next level. It's showing off the racetrack, it's showing on the racetrack with his pace.
Just had a quick onboard, the pole-sitting GTLM Porsche 911 RSR in the hands of Earl Bamber. If you haven't been following sports car racing, go do an internet lookup on Earl Bamber. His career arc has been absolutely meteoric. Picked up by Porsche, won one of the big Porsche one-make championships in Europe. He becomes a factory driver, qualifies for their LMP1 program at Le Mans, and then goes out and wins the overall. And now here he is taking pole and shattering the track record for GTLM machinery here at Road America, the first time he set eyes on the place.
Amazing performance. That's the good news. The bad news is the guy who shared that car at Le Mans is right behind him, and he is really quick.
Yeah, I think what you got there is a case of two cars that either of these could win this race. As we drop back to Risi, Competizione Ferrari number 62 is there. Giancarlo Fisichella still behind the wheel. I mean, this car, you said it won last year. It still is this is going to be in the hunt, bar incident, all the way through to the finish here. And of course, they don't have to play any strategy games with a teammate. While it's a disadvantage on one hand, it's also an advantage when it comes to the end result.
Now, don't be confused. You've seen the 63 of Townsend Bell and Bill Sweetler. Now you're looking at the 62 of Giancarlo Fisichella and Pierre Caffer. Those two Ferrari 458 Italias run in different classes. This is the GTLM version, and the Sweetler-Bell combination are in the GTD Ferrari.
Yeah, and they've actually had some adjustment of performance on that car as it gets really tight there into turn one. That rear wing is actually a couple of inches now further up in the air. Makes it a lot more efficient. They don't have to run as much wing angle, so it's all about balance. It's okay, do I have less or more rear downforce? It has to match the front. That's the key to driving, Justin. Doesn't matter how much downforce you got, front to rear is what it's all about.
Absolutely. The Delta wing working its way down to the downhill section. It's turn 5. 5 car is making its way. Again, another strategic decision, right, Calvin? Heading down. Seems a long pit lane, this, compared to where we were at Lime Rock, where it was like...
Just under 45 seconds is what it costs you compared to staying out on the racetrack. The real key is going to be how does the 31 car do on his opening lap. Dane Cameron, remember, pitted about a lap ago. He needs good, clean lap. He had to encounter some traffic there, so now it's going to be Joao Barbosa taking over from Christian Fittipaldi. We expect Dane Cameron to finish this thing out with Eric Curran starting the race for the 31. So this is going to be tight between the two teammates. Remember right now, Dane Cameron has hot tires on. Joao will leave on cold Continentals, and it looks like he's got his run. I think he's going to get him.
Yeah, Joao hasn't moved yet in the Mustang sampling car. One of the Corvettes pulls in for
There's
a pit
the
stop.
strategy. That's how it played out. Get some fresh tires on him, get a clean lap. They probably looked at the traffic that he would encounter. Great call by the 31 box.
See that brake dust blowing out from the front and rear wheels of that Corvette Daytona prototype. There it is again.
Well,
now,
Dane probably said, they're making it hard for me to pass on the racetrack. Figure it out, boys. Let's do it in pit lane, and that's what they've done.
Now, you can only do that with the brakes for so long before your brake performance is going to fail, or you might find yourself without any. And that's the last thing you want here at Road America.
That was in and out. What did you see, Jamie?
Well, it was a quick pit stop. There was a little bit of a delay. Jan Magnussen did get behind the wheel. They had to shut the door for a second time, just a couple of seconds, but it was a very clean pit stop for the 3 crew. Now, you guys mentioned early on, that's the same car that was crashed at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Over the course of the weekend, they did find a couple of wiring issues that weren't quite right, so they have had to address those things over the course of the weekend, but they say their car is back.
Well, speaking of Corvettes, a moment ago, the sister car, the number 4 in the hands of Tommy Milner, engaged in a little bump and run with John Edwards in the black number 24 BMW. We'll get to those pictures in a moment. Meanwhile, here comes the number 10, Ricky Taylor, from the race lead.
And this is going to be the next key. We saw what the 31 car was able to do to leapfrog around the 5. This is a critical pit stop here to see how the 10 car executes the stop. We're hearing that the 31 car is just coming through the kink.
Jamie.
Jordan Taylor now will get behind the wheel of the number 10. There are 4 new Continental tires out. I asked Jordan what Ricky's tires were like after they made that first pit stop, and he said there was still a little bit of extra in them, which is different from what a lot of their competitors were saying. So they're getting some good longevity out of their car and out of the tires. Hopefully it'll continue all the way to the checkered. Brian?
So far, so good for Oz Negre and his Mike Shank crew. That patch on the fuel tank seems to be holding. Negre being shown in P2 when he came into the pit lane. Routine stop, but then just a little delay here getting the fuel done. Meanwhile, the 0-1 just up the way. Should be a routine stop, a driver change going on. Scott Pruitt will take over for Joey Hand in the 0-1, and then they will head back out. Remember, they too had problems. That turbo hose a little bit earlier, Jamie.
With the number 90 in as well, Richard Westbrook will stay in the car. He's going to finish out this race after taking over duties during that first pit stop. The team was on the radio with them saying, we need a good lap. We've got to make up some ground here. They were 34 seconds back. They're getting beat out of pit lane now by the 01. It wasn't on the roof. It's a full tank.
Well, with all of that shuffling there, the 31 car now leads this motor race. What a great call by that team, allowing Dane Cameron 2 hot laps on fresh Continental tires. He goes to the front.
Timing and Scoring Recycles will settle it down and report it for you. Meanwhile, here's that contact between the 24 and the 4. You think these guys aren't racing hard? Here's another look up in turn 6 at Road America. Welcome back to Road America live here on Fox Sports 1 at the Continental Tire Road Race Showcase powered by Mazda. Round 9 of the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship. There you see who we are. The running order right now is Dane Cameron, Joao Barbosa, Jordan Taylor, Oz Negre, and Bruno Junqueira comes out in 5th place among the prototype cars in his prototype challenge machine. There's Dane Cameron. Fast laps, great strategy. He is our Nissan halfway leader.
Yeah, and his out lap was sensational. Then he followed it up with the fastest lap of the race at 1:57.7. Gave him about a 10-second lead after everyone cycled, but then he hit a bunch of traffic on this last lap. So Barbosa, who now runs second, has cut that lead down to 8.7, but that is a monster margin to create. Remember, he came into the pits running in the 3rd spot, got him in early, 2 really good laps on fresh Continental tires, and he has taken the lead and taken off.
Yeah, and of course, second stint for both these drivers, or all these front-running drivers. They know with the track conditions, they've been part of it through the deterioration, if you like, or the evolution of the track. And he was on it, and I bet the radio communication was, hammer it. You've got to capitalize on this. But you know, Joao Barbosa, when he jumps in, he knows. You know, they're already planning ahead how this race is going to unfold, when their next and final pit stop will be, and things like that. And you don't want to get caught up. I mean, these PC cars that we're following right now. Whoa!
Second place car in GTLM.
Nick Tandy, and he was in close proximity to his teammate.
Yep.
Earl Bamber at the time, as Fisichella now closes in on that second position.
You see that a lot going downhill there to be able to. Oh, look, the 62.
He got a flat tire or something?
Well, I think maybe he's got now rubber build-up on that, so he's probably got to wait a couple of corners possibly to get those tires cleaned up when he took to the escape route there.
So that preserves the Porsche. Porsche 1-2 at this point. Tandy trying to hang on to second place.
Yeah, and they're right at the end of their fuel run here. They've got 23 laps on this run.
Time for fuel tires on driver chase.
See, here's the 1-2, the 912 leading. Big lockup from Tandy.
Yeah, he would have known he was coming in, Bob, and I think he was just trying to minimize that margin that his teammate had on him and just pushed it in there a little bit too far.
You know, a sign of a real professional. You know how to get yourself into trouble and out of it. That was how you do it.
Exactly. You know that it's too late, as we see Fisichella now get around him, as well as Tandy is struggling for grip. If you try to make that corner, you're going to end up on the gravel trap. He realized it was a mistake. Pay for it now rather than later.
Not a very meaningful pass, because we know that the 911 is coming to pit lane. Meanwhile, here's Brian.
John Doonan from Mazda down here watching the prototypes go around, but I think maybe one of the most interested spectators last evening at the announcement and the State of the State address for IMSA was you guys at Mazda. What is your take on the announcement, the new WeatherTech partnership, and the schedule going forward?
Well, Brian, to have a partner like WeatherTech that has truly a global reach on the media side allows all of us, like Mazda, to take advantage of the audience tell our story, the Sky Active story, to a bigger crowd. And certainly here at Road America, I've been coming here since I was 6 weeks old, and got a great crowd today. And I think this new partnership is going to take the series to another level.
Talk about taking it to another level. I know we can't talk a lot about it, but you're still testing the petrol car, aren't you?
We are, Brian. We got our eyes on the future. We had a great test up here on Tuesday, and certainly everybody at Mazda wants to run up front, win races, and win championships.
And we were talking a little bit about the test on Tuesday. I can't give you details, but yeah, they were quick, guys.
Yeah, but I think I was talking with Sylvain Tremblay about it a bit earlier, you know, who heads up the team side of that. And the fact is we're just watching the 911 after that pit stop, probably fresh tires on that, most important. But we're talking about they actually needed to focus on chassis development, so the car is chassis, mechanical grip will be amazing. Brian?
17 is in. Brian Sellers taking over for Wolf Hensler. 4 new Falcon tires going on this Porsche. You guys were talking about the pickup on the racetrack. It was interesting. I was talking to Andy Lally before the race. He showed me a pair of shoes that he wore for the track walk the other day. He said he's still picking that sticky rubber out of it. This track rubbers up really well, especially some of these new patches of asphalt in some of the apexes.
Lee Diffie's on the phone. He'd like to buy those shoes.
Cheap way to get lifts, right?
As you saw Brian Sellers exit, he left a lot of that Falcon tire rubber in the pit lane.
That was a beautiful burnout. Talk about ready to go. Brian Sellers was on it really quick at the last round at Mosport. The Falcon boys were hoping for another podium run here.
Here's a pair of leaders. Bruno Junqueira, the prototype challenge class leader, and the 007 of Christina Nielsen, the GTD class leader in that Aston Martin Vantage.
She's just done a tremendous job. Obviously an alternate strategy by pitting under yellow, putting in Christina, and effectively she'll do a stint and a half, and but she's showing great pace by maintaining the lead.
And she'll be relieved by Kuno Whitmer, the reigning GTLM class champion, driving now in the Aston Martin GTD car. Let's go to Jamie.
For the 912, Porsche is now pitted from the class lead. Jörg Bergmeister getting behind the wheel of this car. 4 new Michelin tires going on. The sister car, when they were just in, they needed a driver change as well. So Patrick Pillay is now back behind the wheel of the number 911. Fueling still going in. That tire change was so incredibly quick. Sometimes it makes it seem like the fuel is taking way too long, but full tank now for the number 912.
So long, tall Jörg Bergmeister climbs in. Relief of Earl Bamber. A lot of championships and race wins in this series on his resume. We'll take another break and return to Road America in a moment. Welcome back to Road America. At any stop in the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship or any of the various IMSA championships, you need to have the new IMSA app. It's a mobile resource for live streaming, IMSA radio timing and scoring. You can customize your experience based on driver, particular automobile brand, or a whole lot more. So check out and download the new IMSA app. And don't forget, at foxsports.com/TUDOR, you can find live onboard video streams of the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship Series from today's race. And at IMSA.com, you can sign up for the IMSA Insider newsletter, follow the TUDOR Championship, go to Facebook.com/United SportsCar, or Twitter @United SportsCar. Folks on the hillside enjoying beautiful weather here today. Hard to believe rain is in the forecast. On board the number 63. Continental Tire has some very special guests this weekend. We're not far from Chicago, and members of the
right. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Chicago Fire Major League Soccer team are on hand. There's the honorary starter, Sean Johnson, goalie for the Chicago Fire. And you saw Grand Marshal Lavelle Palmer, a defender. They took some rides with Christian Hassa in one of the pace cars. I think those big smiles tell you an awful lot about how much fun they had doing that. To Brian Till.
Yeah, I'm down here by the Continental pit cart with Sean and Lavelle, and You guys have had a big weekend, but you're not just teammates in soccer. I also know that your teammates, so to speak, on Townsend Bell's What You Got. So, Sean, for you, you won it last year. You won the Lamborghini. How many tickets now?
No tickets yet, but I have 4 months left with the car, so anything goes. But I'm trying to keep it safe on the streets, honestly.
Excellent. Now, you got your teammate involved. Did you drag him into the What You Got thing, or Lavelle, did you watch him and say, hey, I got to do this?
Actually, I didn't get to watch the show. I heard about it though. I wasn't really a car guy, but after Sean won, I started considering, hey, maybe, if you can drive fast, maybe you could have a Lamborghini for a year. So I had to get into it. Got a few pointers from him, so we'll see how it goes.
So now you got to give the car back, is that correct?
They're going to have to pry it out of my hands. That's the plan. That's the plan. So they're going to have to catch me in it. That's the plan. Fast in the car. So I joke with them all the time. But no, yeah, it's been a great year with the car. Just enjoy it for the next 3 months and see what happens after that.
My question is, if Lavelle wins his, do you get to keep yours long enough that the two of you can have a go at it?
I definitely think we'd have to organize a race. And
I think the first thing I'll do is get a race off with Sean.
Now, Sean, in all seriousness, though, you're kind of hooked on this speed thing. When the soccer career is over with, you might want to put some Nomex on and go racing?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a speed fanatic. I love speed. Ever since I was a kid, my uncle got me into racing. Ever since, I've wanted to really get really behind the wheel of a car and do what these guys do, and hopefully after it's all said and done, I can do that.
Well, they've had a great weekend here at Road America, and who knows, we may see Sean a little later running in the TUDOR Series, and maybe Lavelle will be with him. Who knows, guys?
Thanks very much, Brian. If you're not familiar with What You Got, you can see a special edited edition of the show, which will air tonight, Sunday night, in the MLS Soccer Sunday, sponsored by Audi. All New York battle, the New York Derby, they're calling it. The Red Bulls take on New York City FC. It's at 7 Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1. It's streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Check it out.
You don't think this championship is heating up? As they run, as in if they finish where they run right now, this is what the championship would look like tonight, Justin.
It is so close. I mean, right now, drivers aren't thinking about that, but maybe their team managers are. They've got a lot of race to go here, Calvin, and they are so close on track. It's going to get down to the pit stops if they keep running these same identical lap times.
I'm still watching that brake dust coming out the front of those wheels. There's only so much brake in these cars.
Carbon brakes now, remember, on these cars. And with carbon rotors, they work really good. But when you start to wear them down, they wear down really quickly.
To Jamie.
Well, Earl Bamber out of the 912. Now, Earl, that was your first pole position as a Porsche factory driver. You had a tremendous stint, led this race. Jorg's now back to the lead. Talk us through what kind of car you have today.
Yeah, I mean, we got a really good start. It's always tough with the others around us, and with the toe into the first corner, they were swooping all over us, but managed to hold the lead there. And then just put my head down, and the car was fantastic. I mean, since we rolled the car off the truck, it's been great this weekend. So I have to thank the whole Porsche North America crew. They worked really hard in the shop between Mosport and now, and then we just led the race, and we had the safety car, and then everyone caught back up to us, and then we managed to edge away again and hand it over at a clean stop to Jorg. And he's done a lot of laps around here, and he was great this weekend and mentoring me and teaching me all the tricks around Road America. So I hope he's doing a good job out there, and I'm sure he's got a smile on his face because it's always beautiful to drive around here. It's my first ever time on Saturday in the dry here, and I had the biggest smile jumping out of the car, and I loved it. Even though it's a double stint just now, I loved every single minute of it. So it's a great place.
Still a smile on his face, guys. It's infectious. Thank you.
Well, Bergmeister's a great man to teach. He's had 4 victories here over the years, as has Timo Bernhard, another Porsche factory driver, and Bill Oberlin, who's very much in this championship right now.
Once again on board with the 912 with that unmistakable Porsche flat 6 engine note. Speaking of engine notes, let's try a few of them in this field. It's the Tequila Patron Sounds of Speed. That's the sounds of speed. As you can see, the sun still shining brightly. I'm not so sure about that rain forecast. Everyone having a great time here at Road America. We'll be back to the action in a moment.
Road America was a big turning point for our season. We were in the lead of the race, a little off strategy.
That was, right at a crucial part of the year where, we were so close at the 5. We needed every point we could get.
A huge problem on the racetrack.
Yeah, this is not
Jordan
good.
Taylor
The 10 car
is off at the entry to the carousel.
And under yellow, the steering broke, and I basically drove straight into a wall.
He's got no steering.
He's got no steering.
Something broke.
Look at him. He's got his hands up in the air.
That kind of ended our championship hopes.
We knew we had a really good car, and then to see Jordan in the wall, and we all knew, but just a devastating way to start the second half of the year.
Well, as bizarre as it seems, bad luck has struck again to the Konica Minolta team here at Road America. Jordan Taylor once again in the car, and he pitted with what he said was a steering problem.
Well, we thought it was the front. Now I think it's right rear suspension, maybe a camber shim. Jamie, what are you hearing?
That's exactly what it is, Calvin. He came in, they looked at the front of the car, then they took their time, went through it, went to the back, and there's some shims that came out. They said he did go over the curbs and knocked him loose, so the team had to spend time here on pit lane, but now he's out.
Yeah, there's these little shims, Bob, that they basically put in on the end of the wishbone to create camber.
Make sure everything feels good. If it doesn't, come right back in, feel it out.
And
You got no pressure here. We're not racing anybody right now.
It creates the camber in the right rear tire, and if you run over the curbs consistently, they're basically pinched into position. And if you run over the bumps, you can maybe loosen up that bolt and they'll drop out, and suddenly the whole rear suspension is feeling loose.
Pit stop action for the 73 that started from pole, and a fancy dance from the tire carrier. Well, this track has been a real bugaboo for the Wayne Taylor-led team. Saw brother Ricky and father Wayne sitting on the pit wall as the 73 heads back out. The 10 car currently shown 8th in the prototype class and 16th in the overall.
Jerome Bleekmolen is leading GTD right now. We've just seen this car look so strong, haven't we, Calvin, over these last few races? I mean, the driver pairing is strong. A couple of little incidents here and there, but just on the whole, really a formidable force in this category. And they also seem to end up pretty well on strategy, especially in the middle of the race. I mean, we've seen them lead a lot in the middle of these races. And here they are again.
Well, we thought they'd be a championship contender. It just hasn't gone their way. The Vipers have had 2 wins on the year, but ironically with the other car, they won the 6 Hours of the Glen, they won Daytona, and for Ben Keating and the main charge here in the championship was Jerome Bleekmolen, things haven't gone their way as they now hit pit lane for what should be their final stop of the day.
Meanwhile, I see the Delta Wing exiting back into the prototype battles. The number 11 remains the leader in prototype challenge in the hands of Bruno Junqueira. Brian Till is with his co-driver.
Yeah, Chris Cumming and Bruno Junqueira would like to get a couple of races back. We were talking about Watkins Glen and Sebring a little bit earlier, but the car absolutely spectacular here. What does Bruno have underneath him to look for win number 2 on the year?
Well, you know what? We're really happy with the setup. We did our first testing of the season on Tuesday, and here, and the guys came up with a great setup that we really should have been using all year. But anyway, I think he's got a great car. We know what he's capable of, and we're just crossing our fingers now.
Third in the championship, 16 points back. That's really not a lot with 4 races to go. Do you guys keep close tabs on that, or is it just always focus on the win?
Oh yeah, we keep tabs on that. I mean, but with the way the point system is, to make up 16 points in 3 races, we came to the conclusion we just got to try and win them all, which we try and do anyway. But that's really our focus, and just cross our fingers. Maybe this can be the start of that.
And looking for another win and be their second one of the season.
There you see Bruno at top speed, as always.
Yeah, and with that class, there's just so many quality drivers. There's great drivers who start, certainly in terms of the Pro-Am category, but when you're looking at names like Junqueira, Daly, Colin Brown, 3-time Le Mans class winner Tom Kimber-Smith in the mix, as well as young Mac McMurray, these are really, really fast guys.
Speaking of Connor Daly, he runs second in class in the number 38 car. Checking the gap, there he is.
They've all spread out quite a lot, haven't they? that last round of pit stops really separated that whole leading group.
Yeah, Connor and Bruno on quite different fuel stop strategies here. Connor stopped 10 laps earlier, but I think he's still going to be okay. They're right now getting to their window. These PC cars go about 50 minutes on fuel, just under 52 minutes to go. So Tommy completes this lap. I would imagine that he could pit and probably get to the checkered flag today on one more full load of fuel.
Move back to the third place car in Prototype Challenge, the reigning champions from Core Autosport. John Bennett qualified and started the car. There's Colin Brown, who will handle finishing it.
And they may think it's almost like match play in terms of just watching what the 52 car does. They're just a couple of points behind right now. But when you got fast guys like Bruno and Chris Cumming, they can get a bundle of points each weekend. It's not over.
That's the closest championship battle of the four. Prototype Challenge, just a couple of points from first to second. We'll be back. Welcome back to Road America. Time for our Mazda race break. Rundown of where everybody's placed right now. Dane Cameron and Eric Kern leading overall and prototype in the number 31. Jörg Bergmeister currently at the controls of the factory Porsche 911 RSR in GT Le Mans. Kuno Whitmer having taken over for Christina Nielsen of the 007 TRG Aston Martin Racing Vantage. Leads GTD. The PC leader, Bruno Junqueira, in the 11, as we saw before the break. Here's the battle for third place in the final podium step in prototype. Oz Negri leading Scott Pruitt.
Pruitt is fast. I mean, the 0-1 car obviously started from the pole. Joey took off. They had that hose clamp issue. Kept the car on the lead lap, but they haven't got the yellows to get them back in the game. Pruitt's fastest lap, a 1:57.4. Dane Cameron, the leader, 1:57.7. So they have pace, but they're about 25 seconds behind the leaders because of the problems on pit lane.
As you say, it won't take much, even a local yellow in the wrong place, and this could all experiencing some traffic. I have to say, if he gets on the back of Oz Negri, he's gonna be a right pain to him because, as you say, the car's quick, and it's just a sign of how good the Ganassi team is. You know, they were very calm during that pit stop, unscheduled pit stop, knew how to run the strategy, get the car back out there, doing that, keep on the lead lap, come back in. I mean, really well executed.
What an odyssey it's been for this team. It's been a tough season for them as well. Brian is standing by with the team boss, Michael Schenk.
As usual, we saw the Mike Schenk Racing team working hard this morning to make that repair. Mike, so far, so good. What kind of car does Oz have underneath him now? Calvin was just saying if there's a full course caution, this thing should get really busy at the end.
We did get the caution we needed first off. The U.S. Auto Force car is pretty good. Not as good as we hoped. A little too dramatic there at the beginning. But Oz is doing a great job. John Pugh did a great job. We can just get a good result and get out of here. We'll be happy at this point with the morning that we had.
Looking for another podium finish at Road America. Interesting to note, every time they've run here, they have competed or completed every single lap of competition. Pretty impressive. Amy?
Well, the number 912 GTLM Porsche just pitted from the class lead. It was an unscheduled stop. Jörg Bergmeister was concerned about the security of the hood on the car, so they went ahead, brought him in just to check that. They did top him off with fuel to get him to the end of this race. It was 10 seconds of fuel he needed. But big story, left side tires only, so it was a quick stop for Jörg.
Yeah, he's searching his fifth victory here at Road America. We're understanding that our leader, Dane Cameron, may be pitting at the end of this lap, which is exactly the strategy of splitting the time from their previous pit stop. They didn't have a lot of flexibility, bringing them in a couple laps earlier than the 5. 38 is in, Brian's there.
Connor Daly still behind the wheel. They're trying to make up for that problem that they had at Lime Rock Park, that dramatic incident with the 48. Daly down and away. The car running well in P2 in the Prototype Challenge class when they pitted.
Connor's dad, Derek Daly, no doubt raced an IndyCar around Road America. Connor's not been here since 2010 when he raced in the Star Mazda series.
And he, along with a lot of the other IndyCar fraternity, very excited that that series is back here next year at Road America. That announcement was made this weekend. Here we see Pruitt in traffic, trying to chase down the 60 machine.
I reckon they have to remove that bump at pit exit there.
That's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Every time a car
IndyCar,
comes out,
they'll lose their teeth.
They try to hug that right side of the road, and they really take a beating. Pruitt's gotten by the 24 GT LM BMW.
Looking
Now
at
the
Lucas
GT.
Lure. Watching that come as the 911 hits pit road. Looks like just left side tires only on this one as well, Calvin. They'll be refueling it to the end. Jamie?
If you're right, Justin, it'll be left side Michelin's only for the 911. So clearly they're getting a lot better wear out of those right side tires. It's a quick pit stop for the 911. Also hitting pit road now is the number 31, Dane Cameron behind the wheel. I was just talking to his co-driver, Eric Curran, and he was saying that the first set of tires that was on this car, the ones that they did use in qualifying, they went off pretty early. So since then, they've been adjusting the tire pressures just to kind of help that out a little bit. Dane said the first set, the Continentals that they put on were much, much better. He's getting 4 Continentals now, but they are not new. This is a scrub set of tires, so the stickers are off of these. Brian?
4 new Falcons going on the number 17 for Brian Sellers. He's been absolutely magic on new tires. The problem is, after a few laps, it seems like the Michelins get better, and that's where the speed differential goes down in a way. We talked earlier today about the problems for the 10 being up on the curbs. A lot of these drivers saying you've got to use the curbs in order to get the lap time. The problem is it punishes the car.
Tell you what, the real key right now is what does Barbosa have in terms of traffic? Looking at the monitors, I think he has a clear road ahead. This is really super important that Barbosa gets a really good, fast, clean lap here. It's a battle between the Action Express cars right now for the victory here today, and we saw how close the championship is going to be at the end of the day.
There's Barbosa, headed to Canada corner.
175 miles an hour as he hits the brakes there between the trees. Very rewarding section of the track this, Calvin, could be. You're really concerned about turn 14, aren't you, up towards the pits there?
You really are, and for these guys, they can't afford to roll the dice. They've probably got a bit more fuel on board, probably another lap to use, but they can't afford for it to go yellow. The pit lane would be closed, but this is critical. Ian Watt calling him in, 4 tires and fuel. What sort of lap does Dane Cameron now have he's putting together? He's got clear road ahead and now coming up on some traffic. This is going to be fascinating.
Defending race champions in class, defending series champions. They have completed every racing lap in the nearly 2-year history of the series. As we mentioned earlier, Action Express will bring both the Mustang sampling and the car on the left, the Whelen Engineering Team Fox Corvette Daytona prototype, back next year in a 2-car effort. Right now, Barbosa and Fittipaldi making their bid for a 2nd straight victory here at Road America.
Barbosa hits his pit box. The team goes to work as Dane Cameron is now coming up through turn 13. Jamie, is going to be tight.
It is going to be tight, but Barbosa did his job right on the marks. He said coming into this race, in order to win, we're going to have to execute as both drivers and as a team. This is where the team comes into play. 4 tires. They're going to fill them up with fuel to get him to the end. There's a little bit of a delay on this right rear tire. Those are precious, precious seconds. We'll see where they
Oh boy, this is going to be close. But I think the 31's got him, and he does.
And he's on hot tires, so he should gap him a little bit more. So that was crucial there. It was about 5 seconds before the stops. It isn't 5 seconds right now, but I think Dane Cameron will probably have a few seconds on Barbosa here on this next lap.
Yeah, he does have traffic coming up ahead, but he's got enough to sort of lay things down to try and gap it a little bit. You can see as he's heading down, he's stuck behind the PC car there, which is overtaking a GTD car. You know, but he's going down the inside, Calvin. He's going to gap him.
Well, he's also paid the price of the cold tire lap as well. Barbosa's got to pay that yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think the tires come in fast here because of the high speeds, but we've seen it every time. The outgoing driver has been able to really keep the hammer down and do the job he needs to do.
On board with Pierre Caffer, leading the GT Le Mans category in the Risi Ferrari. Call that turn 2, just a slight change of direction. Pick up the 007 leading in GT Daytona, now in the hands of Kuno Wittmer. Car owner Kevin Buckler. Another break coming up, and we will return to Road America. Stay with us.
All of our race fans out there who have purchased a new Chevrolet product in the last couple of years have benefited from the fact that we've instituted the rear view camera into a safety camera for the race car. We've developed a radar system that looks through the eyes of the camera and assigns a chevron to each of the vehicles we're racing against. It indicates whether the car is faster, same speed, or slower. This allows the driver to make great decisions as he approaches the next high-speed corner, or he can expect to be passed moving down the straightaway. These things are all prime examples of what we refer to as technology transfer and cascade engineering, where in fact we take a great race car, we make and improve the production car, which improves the race car. All of that with the ultimate goal of providing you, our Chevrolet customer, with a newer, better, and safer product.
That radar system is really cool. We often find ourselves walking down the pit lane and watching the mechanics working on it. Especially helpful, as you can imagine, at night when you don't know who's ahead or behind you. Brian.
62 was just in and out. Pierre Caffer, no tires, fuel only. Counted about 8.5 to 9 seconds worth of fuel flow and right back out on the racetrack. Ferrari very good on the Michelin tires around here, but even so, with the amount of time left to go, you got to be a little bit concerned about left side.
And that was the lead right there.
The 911 Porsche going by the 62 Ferrari.
But key is the Ferrari did not take tires, so he's got hot rubber there as well, so this will be a great battle. Great call by Rick Mayer and the Risi team.
Yeah, I mean, one less second of fuel. I know they needed that, and we'd have had side-by-side action going into turn one. So that was amazingly close. Of course, you know, Pierre's the kind of guy that knows how to get the hammer down on these hot tires, and he knows he has a short, very, very short envelope to have any advantage on Patrick Pilet. But Patrick's a factory Porsche driver in one of the best GT cars in the world right now, so he'll have the memo to get going.
Time remaining in the race at the upper left of your screen. Well, this race has gone by quickly.
We've got Porsche going for 3 in a row. Ferrari going for 2 in a row here at Road America. Let's see what Caffer has for them. That Porsche's been awfully tough this weekend, though.
Notice the red leader lights on the side of the car. You see a 1 on the 62 Ferrari because they have not crossed the timing stripe yet. When they get there, it will say 2 if, in fact, Pierre Caffer still trails Patrick Pilet when they get there. Other forms of motorsport, including Indy cars, now using that leader light system that's been on these cars for a couple of seasons now. Great help to the fans by telling you what the individual car's position in its class is. See the red 2 on Pilet's Porsche.
I believe the top 3 in GTLM will be good to the finish on fuel. Lucas Luhr runs in the 4th spot, but I think he's going to need a splash to get to the flag.
Let's get more on the Ferrari now. Brian.
Giancarlo Fisichella watching the monitors here, and you guys celebrated a victory here last year with good pit work. That was a kind of a gutsy call. How good are those tires going to be with another half hour to go here in those Porsches in front and in back?
Oh, they're going to be all right. Obviously, Porsche made a change on the tires as well, but they are quicker than us anyway. I think they are a bit too quick, and our car is sweet very well, it's very comfortable, but I think Porsche was too quick today, so I hope to get through the end of the race, and the podium is possible because we are much ahead in front of us, in front of the other people, but it would be nice to be second. Now we are in front of the second Porsche. Let's see.
As he said, let's see, but remember, Porsches have those fresher Michelin tires. It'll be interesting to see if they can hold on. Guys?
Yeah, we spent some time with Giancarlo Fisichella and Pierre Caffer earlier in the weekend. Fisichella is quite the entrepreneur. He has his own line of signature coffees and coffee equipment. And he's also, believe it or not, or if you follow him on Twitter, you already know this, he is a professional DJ. And if you happen to be on the resort island of Ibiza in the Mediterranean on August 15th, you can catch him performing in a club.
I actually had, it was really fun just again when I was chatting earlier, I mentioned it, we were talking about that, and his face came alive, and he loves, he samples the music, finds it, puts his set together. Not what I expected from him.
I asked him if he'd perform at the banquet. He said,
we can't afford him, actually.
Oh,
probably.
We can't?
No. He runs Ferrari rates on his DJs. Oh, actually, DJs are the highest paid entertainers in the world right now.
I saw that.
So I told him, if you get the Ferrari fan clubs around the world to follow you as DJ Fissy, you could be you could be charging 100 grand a night too.
While we're being frivolous, I'd like to take a moment to wish my lovely wife Karen a very happy birthday. Hopefully that gets me off the hook from this morning when she looked at me expectantly and I had no idea what was on her mind. Trust me when I say I found out, but I don't think the scars are permanent.
Well, we all wished her a happy birthday on your behalf, Bob, because we're that kind of people.
On board the number 3 that had such a crazy wild experience at Le Mans, team used the 3rd existing chassis borrowed from the European Le Mans Series Larbra competition team to run a couple of races this year, but here's the 3 back in action.
This is going to tighten up the championship, Bob. They're running down in the 7th spot right now, and he really needs to somehow get around Brian Sellers, because the next man up the road is Dirk Werner, who's just 2 points behind in the championship with Bill Oberlin.
On board the 17. Up and over the hill, completing another lap at Road America. We've got another break coming up on 30 minutes remaining. Stay with us. Look up the backstretch, the twisting backstretch at Road America. As we show you our Continental Tire Road Race Showcase race recap. Dane Cameron leads Prototype at a Corvette DP. Connor Daly right there in Prototype Challenge. Patrick Pilet, the first of the 2 Porsche factory cars. And Kuno Whitmer leads for TRG Aston Martin Racing in GT Daytona. To Brian Till.
Performance Tech Motorsports has certainly been quick in the Prototype Challenge category all year long, and especially for James French in qualifying. 3rd pole of the season here at Road America, a track you know well. You're just from Sheboygan, I believe. But talk about this racetrack and what it's like in a Prototype Challenge car and how special it would be for you to win here.
I mean, this track is incredibly fun. It's obviously it's the longest track in North America, 4.05 miles, so you get a ton of time to flow a lap together and really get into a good rhythm. But yeah, this track, it tends to change over the course of a stint. So yeah, right now I'm sure it's a lot more challenging than when I started, that's for sure.
Now, we had seen some damage to the rear wing a little bit earlier, that end plate kind of falling down on the left rear side. Has Connor said anything about the handling?
Not that I've heard of. I mean, he's still turning incredibly fast times, so if it is bad, he's masking it pretty well.
Masking it pretty well. Hometown boy looking for a win here at Road America. They have been blazingly quick. They just need some good finishes here as of late, guys.
And it's really tight there. Bruno Junqueira just ran a lap a couple of tenths quicker than Connor Daly, and the lead is just shy of 2.5 seconds. So this is going to get intense here in these last 25 minutes as we're looking at Bruno down into turn 8.
Yeah, and of course there's really not much the pits can do now. It's all in the hands of the drivers.
Yep.
So traffic is going to play a feature. If you run wide, if you make a mistake yourself, these are all the things that really the only variables, other than of course the unwanted yellow flag.
25 minutes remaining in this 2-hour 45-minute event, or 40-minute event, excuse me. There's the leader in GT Daytona.
This is fascinating, trying to figure out what their strategy is right now. I believe that this 007 is about 10 minutes shy on fuel. One of the reasons they changed the GTD minimum drive time today to 50 minutes was because Kevin Buckland said, we are not going to make 55. As initially 60, they dropped to the 55. He said, we can't do that. And that's going to play a factor right now because I think they're about 10 minutes shy. Do they roll the dice? Just try and hope for a yellow, see if that's enough. If not, if he hits pit lane, I'm pretty sure that would cost him the lead to Bleekemolen, but he may hang on to the 2nd spot.
I think the Dodge Viper SRT has the same issue. There you see the driver championships as they run. Got a good one going in both of the GT categories. In fact, as they run right now, we may have a tie in GTLM at the end of the day as we go to Virginia International Raceway in a couple of weeks.
Prototype is pretty tight as well. We could have 3 classes.
Well, as we said at the top of the show, 17 total points separating first and second in 4 classes combined. It's been that close and will be probably to the end of the season. To Jamie.
Well, you guys called it right. The number 007, they have the calculators out on pit lane right now, calculating the fuel. They are going to need more. But Christina, as the points run right now, you would be tied for the championship lead. But having to make that stop, where are your nerves?
You know what? When I was trying not to think too much about the championship. I mean, it would be amazing to win, but we're here to earn points. We got to see how the strategy plays out. You know, you never know. But hopefully you know, we would like to win, but our main focus is to finish in front of the Audi, just like the Audi has its focus to finish in front of us.
And that's going to be interesting, guys, because the 48 is good on fuel. It's a 50-second delta to stop and get full service. They have a lead right now of about 54 seconds over the 48, so we'll see how they stack up. Brian?
Well, here's the deal. We're going to be short, so we're going to pitch you. Everything counts. So I think what I'd like to do is take, 15 seconds of fuel or whatever Kyle says and 2 left side tires. Copy, good idea. Okay, pit next lap, pit next lap.
The 007 going to be pitting soon, but Ben Keating, I was just talking to Bill Riley, he said, you guys are good to go on fuel. I looked at it, 5 front row starts, but winless so far this season. A little retribution if you can finish on the top step here.
Did I hear you say that the 007 is pitting? That is exciting. So that's what I was all worried about. We've had a perfect race. We've had a clean race. We're not the fastest car out there, but we're consistently quick, and we've had no mistakes. And that was the goal today. I'm just nervous as can be that if we have a yellow that comes out and the 007 can make it, there's nothing we can do about it. So I'm thrilled to hear that they're going to pit, and I hope they take a lot of fuel. But I'm excited. There's been a lot of strategy that's happened in this race, and hey, all we can do is what we can do. And we've had a mistake-free race, and we hope it shows up at the end.
A little bit frustrating, though, on the season to have the speed that you guys have had and not had a victory yet?
Maybe a little. I mean, we kind of made up for it with the second place finish at Lime Rock. We're excited about it, but for sure, the first half, we've just been unlucky. We haven't had the season we wanted, whether it was, some issue caused by somebody else or caused by me. It hadn't happened. So it's exciting to be running up front, kind of feeling like we're doing what we can show.
And they're having a good run in GTD and also in GTLM, it looks like right now. The 33 looking for their first victory of the season, guys.
Well, right now, Brian, we're looking at a terrific battle and potentially a championship changer in GT Le Mans. The 5th, 6th, and 7th place cars in class. The 25 Team RLL BMW, the number 3 Corvette, and the number 17 Porsche.
Look at that. Tanzan Bell dives to the inside of Christopher Haase. That is key in the championship. Pompelli has cleared Haase. Haase has dropped 2 positions. I think he's now down to 5th spot.
And behind them, diving going on, Garcia trying to get past Werner. Sellers right behind, flashing their lights. I tell you what, everyone's man for himself right now. The Garcia Corvette has been incredibly aggressive trying to make his way past the BMW there. And right behind Sellers is just sitting there waiting. He's pushing very hard, but waiting, being very opportunistic at this moment, hoping there's going to be a crack in that armor.
Dirk Werner and teammate Bill Arbelin in the 25 BMW, just 2 points behind the Team 3 Corvette teammates, Jan Magnussen and Antonio Garcia.
Well, they had a stronger position at Motorsport, and then they had a little bit of tire degradation that really hurt them and cost them a couple of spots late in the going that cost them the lead. The 007 is in. Jamie.
And it's going to be a quick stop, Calvin. There will be left side Continental tires only. Fuel going in. They knew they were going to be about 10 minutes shy. Tires changed on the rear. Tires changed on the front. Still waiting for that fuel. It's a quick stop.
Saw the 33 go by.
And I think if they kept it to within about 15 seconds of fuel, I think they may keep that second spot in class. Bleekeman will take the lead.
So you guys are very familiar with the relationship that Kuno Whitmer has with Bill Riley and Riley Racing and all that. They had to go past the 33 team on pit road, Kuno Whitmer did, as he drove down for that pit stop. Who was standing along the wall actually waving? That's right, Bill Riley and the rest of the crew as Kuno Whitmer had to drive by.
I think these guys are waving in different manners.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I tell you what, this is high-octane stuff. Garcia here is working incredibly hard. He's pushing very hard on the back of Werner. I mean, he's trying everything. He's going wide. He's braking early. He's trying to get on the power. He's going down the inside, coming down into turn 5 here, look. He's trying to make the most. He's positioning himself. You've got the Park Place car in front, the GTD car. Is he going to be able to use that somehow by premeditating where the 25? He's pulling to the right there. He's definitely going to try and make a move going down through the fast right-hander down under the braking. Good stuff, Calvin.
It is. There's very much the grey area for Dirk Werner in protecting that line. He has to move first. He cannot react.
We've got another break coming up, our final break before the checkered flag, of course.
Oh, look! He just locked up a bit there.
Is he going to try it on the outside in the carousel? No, he won't be able to do it. We'll pick up the story when we return for the Checkers. The next stop on the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship is another one of those legendary road racing circuits built in the 1950s. Virginia International Raceway, the beautiful woods near Danville, Virginia. It'll be an all GT affair. GT Le Mans and GT Daytona, the Oak Tree Grand Prix at VIR. 1 p.m. August 23rd, live on Fox Sports 1.
What a battle it was there last year between a Porsche and a Ferrari. Not this Porsche, but the Falcon Tire Porsche at the end.
We understand we have a spin. It's the Mustang sampling car from Action Express back on the road. Is Joao Barbosa. He's down in turn 3. It might have happened up in turn 1, I'm guessing.
That's a high-speed corner to go around and get away. There's a big runoff area there. He's trying to narrow the gap. Cameron had about a 7-second lead, but was coming into traffic in the 31 Whelen Engineering car. This Mustang sampling car had been pushing hard, but maybe pushed a bit too far.
I saw a little grass and dirt around the car. He might have gotten off track.
See if there was traffic here. Yeah, dives it to the inside.
Oh, it's the 48 Audi.
Wow, once again, Audi in the thick of it with prototypes. Remember Lime Rock with Christopher Haase and Connor Daly.
Right, they touched in the downhill diving turn. Both went off heavy into the tire wall, and that was the end of that.
4th gear for both cars through there, you know, guys. That's very fast. That was unfortunately just a case of a move not working. Just watching the cars out there, wheeling car, there's no action going to be taken. We're here on that little incident we just saw following the 31 car. Jamie, you're down in the pits with Eric.
Yes, and Eric, I know you're watching on with great intent as we get towards the end of this race. Dane's been leading since he got behind the wheel of this car. What would it mean to this team to be able to get another win here today?
Oh, it'd be unbelievable. I mean, hats off to these Action Express guys. I mean, we didn't have the best car in qualifying, but we made a really good race car today. It was quick in practice and obviously quick right now. But Simon up there in the box did an unbelievable job with the strategy and when he pitted, and it's really working out. And Dane really hasn't passed the car, but the pit strategy and the guys doing the pit stops really killed it today. Did a great job. So Dane's doing a good job. We got a fast 31 wheeling Corvette. It's really going to close up the championship if we pull off with a win today. So I think it'll be quite close to a tiebreaker there. So good job to Action Express. If we come out of here with a 1-2, it's great. Gained some big points for us.
You mentioned the championship and those points. When this season started, did you expect you guys to be in the hunt at this stage?
Well, no, not really. I mean, there was so much that came together to put this program, make it all happen. As a second car for Action Express, but we had a tough race at Daytona with the steering problems. We had a wheel fall off at Sebring. It was a tough start, but Dane and I and the whole team have been gelling more and more. Every race we keep getting better and getting more comfortable with one another. And man, these Action Express guys are unbelievable. And Dane's unbelievable. So the whole combination of everything, and we're ready for finish out this year and look forward to next year.
Don't sell yourself short either. Good run today. Thank you.
Saw Eric yesterday after the press conference wearing an announced. He said, I've never had a deal in August. I said, well, go and buy some Christmas presents. Normally you have no way.
You saw just how close the points would be as they run 3 cars within 2 points for the championship.
Pierre Caffer there right now, Bob. We just saw him. I just want to say he got all a little bit sideways going down. Second place as he's going down. The 912 as Jörg Bergmeister has been giving him all sorts of grief for the past 2 or 3 laps. I think it's an inevitable pass going to happen at some point in these last 11 and a half minutes. But using the PC traffic, Pierre definitely trying to make the most of that traffic.
Look at that. Daly, though, was locking up there. This is the battle for PC that we're looking at the same time. Connor Daly leads by about a second, as you can see, over Bruno Juncker as they encounter this GT-LM battle for the second spot. Bergmeister looking to make it a Porsche 1-2.
Oh, he gets alongside.
Vissy Keller, Caffer's teammate, said we don't have enough speed for the Porsche, but Caffer's trying to hang on.
Yeah, he's pushing every single bit of that. Look, the Ferrari is starting to get a bit twitchy all over the place. So Pierre's held on very well, and it's not over yet, but he's that Porsche is looking very predatory behind there, Bob.
Coming up on 10 minutes to go. This has been an outstanding race, and we want to remind you, if you'd like to have a career in motorsports, driver, engineer, marketer, you name it, check out safeisfast.com, S-A-F-E. With support from Honda and the international governing body, the FIA, the nonprofit Road Racing Drivers Club has a wealth of video tutorials on all elements of motorsports. Check it out, safeisfast.com.
We talk about the championship in GTLM. Look at that, a moment with the delta wing and the 25, and in a flash,
the Corvette goes by.
Pounces.
Wow.
That was wonderfully executed. It looked like it was an accident about to happen, didn't it?
Incredibly
But boy.
opportunistic driving.
Yeah, look at that there.
By Garcia.
Here we see the overall leader, Dane Cameron, in the Whelen Corvette. He now has a 15-second lead, so this is a nice position to be in. Before, with that 5, 6, 7-second lead, he'd been pushing, trying to force his way through this GT traffic. Now he's got the call from the pit box. You got a much bigger margin, not less than 10 minutes to go. He can take his time a bit more in traffic.
Well, he's got to as well when he goes. You've seen these overtaking maneuvers. He's making a little bit of stretch now to Zhao. Obviously, we saw Barbosa have that spin in turn 1. But you're right, Dane is going to have to just not take silly risks going down the inside of people. But you know what? To be honest, everything's a risk at this speed. And as we catch up with the GTD leader, Bob, everything, every corner, I'll tell you as a driver, is a risk.
Well, that's what we talked about earlier. It's always a compromise, or a balance, shall we say, between risk and reward. And at this time of the season, with just a couple of races remaining, pretty much got to risk everything.
Well, certainly TRG were willing to risk on the strategy. They ultimately made that call to pit for a splash of fuel, and that leapfrogs Kuno Whitmer. He stays in the 2nd spot, so he's ahead of Christopher Haase, which is the team that Christina Nielsen, his teammate, is trying to chase down in this championship, so they're looking really good here tonight.
Here's the 73, Spencer Pompelli, at a point on the track where he had an interesting race in the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge. Check that out when it comes your way in a few days here on Fox Sports 1.
We won't spoil it for you, but let's just say the track owes him one.
And we understand that the 60, that Ligier JSP2 prototype car in the hands of Oz Negri, had a problem going around the GTD Ferrari, gets the left side wheels off.
Yeah, he was trying to use the downforce of that P2 machine to get around the outside, but he just got in the marbles, no grip there. You just can't maintain the radius, and Pruitt was through. There you see him go.
Yeah, they've had very light hands on that gravel, just trying to keep the momentum, just getting the car out of there. He survived that one, but not many people do out there.
I think if the track was clean, but there's so many marbles out there at this stage of the game, if the track was clean, he could have probably made that pass stick, but there just wasn't the grip.
So he is relegated to 4th place. It's Scott Pruitt well up the road. 3rd place looking more secure for the Ganassi team. In GT Le Mans,
I tell you what,
continues.
I'll take back what I said earlier, 2 laps ago, is that the 912 is still right there, but Kaffer's got a really good understanding right now of where Bodmas is going to try and make the moves, and that's what you do as a driver. You go, he can't get me here, he can't get me here, but that's a little dubious. So, you know, he knows right now that's too far back to make a diving maneuver. He's using up more brakes, he's going to be slower off. You know, Pierre is using every bit of experience here. 2nd place for this team would be fantastic. Their plans are up in the air for next year. You know, Giuseppe Risi has been around and supported motorsport, sports car racing for decades now. It really is thanks to him, I think, in every way Ferrari has any presence at all in North America in terms of racing. You know, he's really been sometimes the lone gunman out there, if you like. And right now, they're going to get a podium, I hope, but a 2nd place splitting the Porsches would be a real result.
Well, I talked earlier about the revolution coming in GT racing with Ford bringing its turbocharged GT. Ferrari has the 488 coming online, a twin-turbo V8, if you can believe that. And it would not surprise us one bit if Risi Competizione is there with at least 1 car for next year.
It's going to be a very exciting class next year, with Ford coming, of course, with the new machinery. BMW got the M6. It looks like that's going to be debut next year with turbo power as well. So the game is changing a little bit.
GT3 rules being used in the GT Daytona class. It's going to be wild.
Oh, Bergmeister, a late move there. Tried to catch Kaffer off guard. Just saw him in the nick of time and closed the door.
Yeah, and he backed out too, because I think Bergmeister realized that Pierre is not about to give that up like that, and he was going to cut him off. 2 professionals understanding the way each of them drive, but you can see the cost it had on Jorg there. He just lost 4 or 5 car lengths as you go down the straight. That is an uphill climb, and you really have to rely on momentum through turn 14 to make it up the hill.
Plus, he knows he has plenty of time left. 5 minutes and 40 seconds. A couple of laps or so.
Yeah, Lime Rock, that's 42 laps. Here, it's, you know.
2 or 3.
But I think that is one corner, turn 14, where you can take that sort of chance. You have to be on the brakes quite a bit there to set up to get off the corner correctly. But if you're just trying to make a move and get stuck in the inside, you can really leave your braking very deep, but Kaffer was just up to the task there.
I think in 5 minutes, it would have been 50 seconds time, he would have gone for the move regardless of the outcome. We've seen Jörg Bergmeister, a very brave man in the closing stages of any motor race. That's why he's won so much.
Spotting all of our class leaders. You saw Dane Cameron in the 31 from Action Express.
Connor Daly now 6-second lead over Bruno Junqueira, so it's cleared the traffic nicely and got the hammer down, and this will be great for this team. They've come so close, shown such impressive speed here of late. That'll be a great day for that whole group.
Could be a big day for these boys too. The 33 of Jeroen Bleekemolen, Viper Express TI Automotive Dodge Viper SRT. Keep in mind, they have a sister car, the 93, that was just wiping up the floor with everybody early in the season, but it was not a full season entry. They were just going to run the 4 rounds of the Tequila Patron North American Endurance Cup. The 33 boys have had to raise their game.
And the funny thing was, Ben Keating was very nervous in the interview. They thought they had it in their hand at Lime Rock, and then the Turner Motorsport team really went to task with their fuel strategy and somehow managed to get that car to the finish line.
Yeah, I tell you what, I sense a little frustration on the behalf of Bergmeister there coming through here. He's got the PC car right up behind him.
Yep.
They did not let him overtake at the end of the straight there, which natural course of things he would have done. He's trying to get a run on him here, Calvin. He backed out a little early to come up the hill better, just as you described.
3 laps left here, 3 laps.
3 laps to go. So he's got to be careful about that faster PC car to his inside. I think Colin Brown not terribly impressed with the way Bergmeister was trying to set up the Ferrari.
And I think Kaffer there doesn't want to have the door opened by Colin Brown diving down the inside. I think Colin will have a better shot here. He'll be deeper on the brakes. He should be able to make the move now. Kaffer's got to realize that and tuck back in before Bergmeister suddenly fills that slot.
Right.
Beautifully executed there. You see it. That's the beautiful thing, yin and yang of sports car racing. Sometimes the fastest way to be overtaken is to know how much to lift off and where to lift off.
This is going to be close. You see the Ferrari certainly has some legs down the straightaway. A lot of that is just the aero setup. The Porsche runs a lot of downforce.
We've seen the Porsches lock up a little bit down into turn 5 here over the course of the weekend. The Ferrari is very solid under brakes there. I think, as I said, Pierre knows where, short of a dive bomb maneuver, Jörg's going to be able to pull this off. But if Kaffer gets so much as 1 foot out sideways, he's going to be like something on a troop ship.
We expect the white flag for the race overall leader next time by. Keep in mind, if you have the overall race leader behind you, your battle in class might go for another lap. Well, the Ferrari is squirming everywhere.
Yeah. Well, they're just using everything they got right now. It's just hang on, hold on to that position the best I can. But when you get to the corners like the kink and the tires are a little bit used up, that's when it's really about the men between the boys, because you've got to hang on to that car somehow and put it all on the line.
Kaffer going down the inside of the 48 there. This is a critical bit of blocking there. I mean, not blocking by the GTD car, but blocking in terms of the performance of the car compared to those GTLM cars. Jörg's really got to start strategizing on this final couple of laps as to where can he do it without incurring a penalty, because I think there'll be contact as he goes by.
Well, I think he needs to try and make a move down into turn 5, but as we see here, even though he's tucked up here, you'd think he'd pull in a draft here and just pop to the inside, but look at that Ferrari. It stretches it just a little bit to take the pressure off of Pierre when he gets to the brake zone.
Slippery red as he goes in. They literally down 1 gear, into 4th, off the brakes, and turn in fast. They carry a lot of momentum. There's a lot of room on the exit there.
Bergmeister needs to be closer right here, Justin. He's got to get right underneath the gearbox of that Ferrari as they exit turn 3 here and be closer in the draft here down this straightaway.
He got on a macro second earlier than the Ferrari there onto the gas, but the Ferrari has beautiful torque coming off here.
Best battle on the racetrack right now. We're monitoring all the lead gaps. We won't let you miss anything.
And there is our leader on the left, Dane Cameron in the 31.
White flag.
Beautiful words to hear.
13-second lead last time by, so comfortable right now for Dane Cameron if he can bring it home for their 2nd win of the year.
So, of course, what this means is we're going to see another lap and a half of action for these guys at the front in GTLM. And Pierre Kaffer will be all too aware that even though there's 40 seconds showing on the clock and the leader will get the checkered, he's still got to fight for his position.
He's got a lap and a half.
Another lap.
Yeah. Look at that Ferrari try to get it turned in.
Analyze, he's letting it out. Calvin, listen. And he's trying to feed it on literally it takes 1/100th of a second earlier than the guy in front to be faster down the straight.
The other thing is affecting Jörg Bergmeister there is the aero coming off that Ferrari. That'll be affecting his downforce. And in the corner like the kink, you want all of the downforce that you can get.
Pierre's made his move. He's made his one move to the right.
Watch this. Bergmeister will try and get position on the outside. Kaffer doesn't give it to him, runs him wide.
Fair play.
Yep, absolutely.
I'd have done the same.
If not a bit more, probably.
Yeah.
Just hard racing.
Okay, Jörg had a try there. That was a commitment that cost him a fraction, but he can bounce back. He has the faster car. But remember, the guy in front can make one move, and if you're wondering why they're not weaving around like the good old days, they're just not allowed to. One more full lap, they are told.
That's what I'm talking about. The leader is behind them, the overall race leader that is, so they will go another lap while Dane Cameron brings it around with a 13-second lead now over his teammate Joao Barbosa.
Remember, this is a battle for second. Patrick Pilet in the 911 factory Porsche continues to lead by 5 seconds.
Coming up almost to the last corner.
Now we've got contact. The 11 and the 38 got together. That was for the lead in the prototype challenge class. Meanwhile, Dane Cameron brings the Whelen Team Fox number 31 Corvette Daytona prototype to the checkered flag. Victory for Action Express.
This championship just heated up, baby.
Oh, boy.
Beautiful execution, fast pace, brilliant drive by both those guys.
And Eric Curran called it right. That call to bring Dane in a couple of laps earlier than the rest of the guys and have fresh tires and run some really quick laps really was the strategy call of the day.
Great stuff. All right.
Now, what happened here? There's Connor Daly in the 38. Came under attack.
Here's the leader. Bruno Junqueira's got around, but there was some argy-bargy.
Now we hear there may not have been contact, as initially reported. Just a little bit of perhaps over-exuberant driving.
Wow, well, that's rare to see Connor Daly make a mistake like that with the win potentially in his lap.
Up the hill comes Bruno. And across the line to take the win in Prototype Challenge. Well, Bruno drove his heart out a couple of weeks ago at Lime Rock Park, but could not close the gap. Whoa, we've got a problem. The Ferrari is off. Bergmeister continues.
There was touch. There was a touch we're hearing.
Oh, that was in some ways inevitable. I said he wasn't going to go by without a touch.
Drama.
Back up, Patrick. We're 1, 2, 1, 2.
For now.
For now, yeah.
We'll see what the stewards have to say, but for now it is a Porsche Factory 1-2 in GT Le Mans.
Beautiful job. These guys came from the very back of the field today, Bob. Had to change that motor after qualifying. What a run.
Now let's look at the PC. Argy-bargy, as Calvin likes to say.
No contact there. Connor just took it in so deep. He just lost the rear end of the car, turned it around, and Bruno was through.
Spun himself.
He'll dream of that tonight.
Now, as the 62 had the position, 912 makes the move up the right side. Contact once. Contact twice.
Then Pierre just gets sideways there through 13. Let's have a look at this from a different angle, Justin.
It's legitimate.
Man.
You know, it was just unfortunate.
Hard racing, just going for it. I
think that one will stand. A 1-2 for Action Express in Prototype, a 1-2 for Porsche in GT Le Mans. Back live at Road America, there is Dane Cameron, who did yeoman work today for Action Express, taking victory with teammate Eric Curran here at Road America. Another outstanding race, round 9 of the TUDOR United SportsCar Championship. Sure to be with us for the next event from Virginia International Raceway, live Sunday, August 23rd from 1 to 4 Eastern Time on Fox Sports 1. Unofficial BMW results.
What a race we saw there between the two team cars. The 01 car gets on the podium.
Our Audi move of the race, quite appropriately, is between those two teammates. Very early on, chasing the Wayne Taylor machine, Dane Cameron and Christian Fittipaldi going door to door in an intra-team tussle. that ended up in a 1-2 finish to Jamie Howe in victory lane.
Well, Dane Cameron now becomes the all-time TUDOR class-winning driver. 7 wins for you in the series history. Now, what makes this win special?
That's the coolest thing ever. Thanks to Continental Tire for everything. Wheel & Engineering, Action Express, Eric, everyone did such a great job today. Another great team win. This really makes up for 2013 when we were so close.
Congratulations, guys. Brian?
Chris Cumming, Bruno Junqueira down here by the 11. And Bruno, it's been a long time since Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca and the victory there, but in those closing laps with the 38 well out in front, did you think you were going to have time to catch him?
Man, I was almost passing him, though, so I got the GTLM traffic. He opened like 5 seconds, and I pushed 100% and closed the gap. And last lap, it was exciting.
Exciting to say the least. And remember, it was 16-point differential. This is going to help in the championship run. Bob?
All right, thanks very much. They lost a narrow one a couple of weeks ago. They picked one up this week. Here are the prototype class driver championship points. Valianti and Westbrook up top. In prototype challenge, another close battle.
Yeah, they actually extend it a little bit, the Bennett-Braun duo, but it's still very tight here as we run down a couple of rounds to go.
And of course, when you look at it, BMW is right behind Porsche, catching up. Corvette still leading, but I don't know. It's all about a change, I have a feeling.
GT Daytona. Christina Nielsen takes the lead by 2 over the teammates in the number 48 Audi. Back to Jamie.
With the personalities of Nick Tandy and Patrick Pillay, you can imagine what the celebration's like. But Patrick, after the engine change last night, starting from the back, coming up through the field, how special is this win today?
It's unbelievable. All the guys worked so hard yesterday just to repair the car. Unfortunately, we have a problem in quali, but we dominate all the weekend. We are always in front on the wet condition, on the dry. I have a really good start actually with the GTD. I was close to the GTLM after the first lap, and then I pushed really hard. It was tricky with the tires, and Nick also, he pushed really hard, a bit too much at the end. He was scared me a bit. But no, all the team make a great job. I'm so happy for Porsche, Michelin, for my teammates. We did a great job.
Congratulations, guys. Brian?
Congratulations over here at the Viper Exchange as well. We talked to Ben Keating a little bit earlier, and Jerome, it took 7 races to get to victory lane, but you guys did it. But I did hear something interesting on the last lap. I heard go to reserve. Now, was that just a precautionary measure, or did you get a little nervous?
No, they did the match, so we had enough fuel, but you know, you need to have fuel in there for tech as well, and you just want to be safe. So, but everything was good. I mean, yeah, we did the perfect race, no mistakes. Ben had a great stint and really good pit stops, very fast. So yeah, nothing went wrong today.
When you run the perfect race, you end up in victory lane, Jamie.
Well, it was a great race for Connor Daly right until the end. Connor, you had the win in your hand and then a spin. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, we had a 5-second gap, and then, of course, as usual, caught the GTS and Martin in the worst place you could catch him, in the carousel. And you know, everyone's tires are kind of wearing down a little bit, so I really didn't expect him to be that slow, or else I would have just kind of tried to go around the outside. And I thought I had a comfortable enough gap, but that allowed Bruno to get close. And then, sure enough, you know, we've struggled with some power down the straights, and he got a really good run. And as soon as I hit the brakes, the rears locked pretty heavily. So I've been going to the front on the bias all race. So sadly, we couldn't finish it off.
Yep, sadly, guys.
Well, it was an outstanding race. I know Connor is upset, but he drove a great run. We hope you've enjoyed Continental Tire Road Race Showcase powered by Mazda. Next up, it'll be Virginia International Raceway. Right now, for Calvin Fish, Justin Bell, Jamie Howe, and Brian Till, I'm Bob Varsha. See you on the 23rd from VIR. Until then, so long from Road Atlanta in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin.